right, I believe it's 7. So this meeting will come to order. We've already done the pledge, so we don't have to do it again we did it at the statutory meeting. But all right, for people who are here, let's do it again. All right. So we can stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the first item on the agenda is acceptance of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? If there are not, then is there a motion to accept the agenda as printed?
I make that motion.
Sandy? All right, is there a second?
I approved the master plan, but it says approved for public release. We don't have to approve it for public release, right?
You do.
For public comment, it should
Right.
No,
For public
review.
comments.
It should be review, public review.
It said public release.
I know, but it's actually review, isn't
Well,
it?
then let's change the wording on the agenda.
So you would like that to be public review?
No, just master plan, and then we'll discuss what we're gonna do with it. Because we don't know until everybody participates.
All right, that's fine, just leave it as master plan.
Yeah.
All right, so Sandy, would you want to change your motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Purge? All right, so the next item is petitions from the public. I will remind you that you have 5 minutes to address the council. Joe, would you time the 5 minutes for me, please? All right, so who would like to address the council this evening? Yes, please.
I'd like to first just tell you guys what brought me here in the first place. My mother was a nurse. She worked in oncology, and that takes a toll on a person. And so she became depressed and went on antidepressants when antidepressants were in their models. And when I was 10 years old, she ended up taking her life. But I followed in her footsteps, and I went on to school. I worked for the same healthcare system that she did. I worked for some of the same doctors that she did. And I love the job because I'm really good at connecting with patients. I didn't like the job because I had to go to committee meetings over my lunch break. And I didn't appreciate the corporate aspect of it. So then I moved to Michigan, and I became a caregiver for medical marijuana patients. It was a way for me to transition from Western medicine to herbal, which is what I'm practicing now. And we opened up the Zen Garden because we saw a need. These people were the only facility that required lab testing, so they could trust that their medicine was safe, they could trust that their medicine was clean, they could understand what the potency of their medicine was. I believe I'm also the only dispensary caretaker that has any kind of past medical training. What we know about marijuana as a fact is that it's safe and it's never harmed a single soul. These people use medical marijuana as a daily therapeutic regime, so they don't have seizures, so they don't have nausea after cancer treatments. They've had access to this medicine here for 7+ years in Calumet. Taking it away from them has caused them suffering, which is why the outcry to you. Because as a council, it's your responsibility to protect their health, safety, and general welfare. And when you closed the Good Zen Garden, all of these were affected for these people. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wish to address the council? Yes, please.
We need our medicine. It helps for numerous things. I have anxiety, I have schizophrenia, I have a service dog. The service dog helps, but it doesn't help what the medicine, the medical marijuana that we need, it doesn't help that. I have been struggling for the last 4 days since they've been closed. It's horrible. We need our medicine.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the council? Yes, please.
Hi, I live in Calumet, and I've owned a home up here for 40 years. I rented it out. I moved back when my doctor for 4 years downstate. I'm a chronic pain patient. I have ruptured C2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in my cervical area, which is my neck. I have a pinched atlas in my brainstem. I have all sorts of things that happen to me all the time that I can't control. The other thing is I have chronic pain that goes for days and days. I was on opioids for a short time, and when I wasn't in pain, you can't stop. You have to keep taking them whether you want to or not. The pain of the withdrawal is insane. Well, I bit the bullet and I did it. I got off the opioids, and I suffered a mild stroke in the process. I'm 61 years old, and I will tell you this, I purposely moved back up here to safely use medical marijuana, and now you took it away. I am so upset, because this is the only thing that is keeping me off of opioids, and a lot of other people in this town.
Amen.
And if you think you have an opioid addiction now, wait to see what happens if you keep everything shut down. People like me, we need processing for our growers. My grower packed up and left town like 3 weeks ago because of what you guys were planning to do here. And we need the processing because I can't really smoke that stuff. I make CBD out of it, and that's what I use. And I will tell you this, if I had had access to this, after my injury, I would have never gone on opioids to begin with, and I would have never, in a million years, had a darn stroke trying to get off the darn things. When you deny us this medicine, which is clean, there's no side effects, you don't get sick, you don't get addicted. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to. If I don't want to use it for a week and I'm pain-free for a week, thank God I don't have to do anything. But I'll tell you what, when I need it, it's there. But not anymore after what you did. And I don't know why you want to be my doctor and force me to take opioids. That's what I would like to know. I've been through hell down that road, and so has a lot of other people. It's not fun, it's not cheap, it's not economical, and it's not healthy, and it can kill you trying to get off the stuff. Most people can't get off the opioids anymore. The few that have managed to get off of them, they're using medical marijuana. And you guys got to do something to give it back to us. There's a lot of people in this town, there's more than you know, that have their medical marijuana cards. And they don't want to go public because they know there's a stigma attached to it by people who don't understand it. And for my entire life, I never had anything to do with drugs of any kind. I was afraid of them. Even as an athlete, when I would fracture bones or whatever else, I never took opioids. This injury did me in, and I had no choice. That's all I can say. And you need to keep this here unless you want a worse drug problem than you already have. And I've seen what it's done, because I've known some of these people up here that have died. I've met them, and they can't get off this stuff. And they're afraid of marijuana because of people like you who have stigmatized it. That's wrong. I would have used it a lot sooner if it wasn't stigmatized so bad, because people look down on you as if you are some kind of a drug addict. But isn't it funny, I could take opioids all day and I'd be more than respectable. That's the crazy part. And you need to change your thinking like I did, because I learned the hard way. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Who else? Jamie, did you want to address the council?
Sort of. I can stand.
It's easier to sit, just sit.
Okay. I didn't know about this whole thing going down, and I do not use medical marijuana. I pray to God that I never have something that requires me to do it. My last full-time job was in an assisted living facility in Florida. And there, medical marijuana was taken care of by the medical people. You know, the only thing I had to do with it was if the person had a trust account, because I was a business manager. I have a cousin who has had epilepsy since she was a child. I remember the first summer that she was on medical marijuana and the joy. She had children and she was able to play with them. She's now, you know, a few years younger than me, and she's still okay. She hasn't had a seizure in years. I had a brother, half-brother, who died with cancer. He used medical marijuana for the 3 months that he was still alive. My understanding of this Zen garden that I've never been in is that it's never had a problem. So I was incredulous when somebody said, well, they're shutting it down. It didn't make sense. So that's really all I'm here to say, but I'm here to listen.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to address the council? Yes?
Hi. I don't know much about Alicia's business. I've never been in there, but I do know I'm assistant manager of the co-op, and we would not have our doors open if she didn't reach out to us and ask us if she can help us at any way. She's the only one in this community that reached out to us. Said, hey, can I help you? Something needs to be said about herself. I just want to say that. And, you know, I hear a lot of things about Calumet. I've never heard anything bad about her business. In fact, she was in business for many months before I even knew she was even there. It's just a quiet place. She's willing to help out her neighbors. I don't see a bad problem with it. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Was there someone in the back? Yeah, please.
Hi, I'm here for a different note. My name is Jeff Foss. I'm the race director for Copper Dog. I'm here to introduce the race, let you all know as March 2nd to the 4th. Possibly if we could get on the agenda for next month and talk about the snow road and get your approval for letting us have the race again and go on from there.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
You have a comment?
That was last March too, right?
Yes. It's always the last weekend in February or first weekend in March.
Brings a nice crowd to town too.
Thank you. Did you want to address the council, please?
I'm a medical marijuana patient, and I used to live in a place where medical marijuana, the dispensaries weren't around, and I used to have to drive here to get my medical marijuana. Because at that point in time, I did not have a driver's license. I get medical marijuana for my seizures, PTSD, and fibromyalgia. And at that point, I was still having seizures on and off, but not quite as often. But I couldn't get as much as I needed because I had to get the dispensaries. And there's a lot of people who need that easy access. And being around, since I moved here over a year ago, I've been being able to medicate as much as I need. And I haven't had a seizure in over a year. And that's a really big thing. And that goes with my meltdowns. I'm autistic. And that's why I have so much anxiety right now.
You do good. You do good.
And so that's a big thing. And since I started smoking, I used to have that habit of banging my head and doing, I don't know why, but it's medical marijuana has helped me have a way more normal life than I ever had before I started. And I know it helps
a lot of other people like me and with more serious things as well. I think that there should be dispensaries easy accessible here rather than making people get where they can't even get and people have to turn to harder drugs that ruin lives. I don't want to be on any of those. I'm only on medical marijuana, I'm not on any single other drug. And I don't want any others. They tried pushing me out all kinds I've been through, none of them ever worked. Medical marijuana has.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Is that Barb? Barb, please.
Yeah. Okay, when I started, I got in a car accident 10 years ago. I was already on fentanyl and Vicodin because I was trying to think from the previous accident. And then I got fortunate, I got medical marijuana. Dr. McKenzie gave me a choice, either or. So I said, I'll try medical marijuana. When I got on medical marijuana, my mind was more open. I could function. I could only use it when I needed it. I didn't have to stay fogged up for 4 to 6 hours because of the opioids. My life has changed. I'm getting it back. I'm really improved. I like it. This has been such a benefit to have that there's a dispensary here and helping people. But I didn't understand why you guys had how many months to make this ordinance happen. And you didn't do it. So I felt like my leaders are letting me down, my community, because they made the dispensary close. You guys had all these months to take care of it. And I depended on you guys as my leaders, as people I voted in to take care of Barb, to take care of me. You guys didn't. I'm angry, I'm hurt, frustrated, but I'm also like, please, make it work. It's great. It worked for so many people. Your community's part of them here. You know, please help. I did talk with Nani. The other part is Nani Mary Lewis. She couldn't be here tonight, but she did give me something to say. And I was like, oh shit, I don't want to do this. Okay, so this is Nani's talking, okay? When I was a kid, people came to shop in Calumet on Saturday night. Shoppers came from Bolton, Hancock, Lakeland, and surrounding areas. Of course, the mines were also open, and our local people are now forced to shop in other towns, mainly Bolton. But as we are forced to shop elsewhere for essentials, like UPS no longer operating here, to get even a watch battery, must have to go to Bolton. Ours is an older, joyful town. This is not an easy travel, especially with our weather and for people who are in pain and many of the elderly. We should have an easy source for relief, and that's from Nani. You guys know what she does.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, please.
Yes, my name's Tom Coakley. I'm a Calumet resident. First off, I want to say, when you do this, you're going to push it to the black market. You're going to make his job harder. You're going to make the city have more crime. You're going to put criminals on the street where all of us are going to have to go get our medicine, and that's not right. You're forcing us to go to the black market. We're not going to. Some of us won't do it. Some of us will, but it's going to make his job harder. Another thing is, you're passing out on money. The trucks we have in this city are horrible. You need windows for the police station. You need computers for the police station. You guys need money. You're passing it up. When people come to this town and come to this dispensary, they stop at the gas station. They stop at the grocery store. They stop at Burger King. Now they're just going to drive right on by Calumet and they're going to go to Houghton. You guys are not only hurting us as patients that were prescribed by a doctor, and every 2 years we have to go get prescribed by a doctor again. So this ain't no fly by the thing. And Dr. Bob Marquette's gone. You have to go to Dr. McKenzie. So I don't know how many other patients here got Dr. McKenzie's their doctor, but he's the big dog in Portage, and he's the one who does it because he won't give pain pills out. He gives out the medical marijuana card because he knows it's better than getting opiates. I don't know, the city can get $5,000 a year. They can get 3% off of the gross sales. That's a new snow truck. That's windows. That's your raise. That's more money for this gentleman right here. So he can have more money. That's gas in the cars for the trucks. That's more salt. You guys are passing up on so much money here, it's wrong. And it's wrong to the patients too. So I think you guys need to get an ordinance going and get this thing. So there's always been a dispensary here anyways. Now you have a chance to make money on it. And it's legal. You're going to go to the black market and you're going to lose money. And we're not going to vote for you guys again.
Thank you. I see with that.
Hi, I am Sandra, and there's two things that I just want to point out. One, I was addicted to opiates. The doctors about 6 years ago prescribed me narcotics for migraines. Within a year, I was eating them. And it escalated to heroin, which we know is becoming a huge epidemic up here. The pain pills they gave me were so close to heroin that the high felt almost the same. And then in February, my leg was cut off. So I stand here on a fake leg and in lots of pain quite often. And it was like Russian roulette. All right, I'm in recovery for years, and do I risk it now? Because I'm going to tell you, it didn't feel good getting cut off. It still doesn't. And if I did not have my medical marijuana card, I fear that I could relapse. And it's just, there's so many other people that I know people have been concerned saying, well, kids will have easier access to it and they're going to steal their parents. But it's not about the substance, it's about the character of the person. That same kid that's going to go steal the parents' weed are going to steal their parents' beer and their grandma's pills. It's character, not substance. So don't think less of us because of how we choose to deal with our pain. And don't take it away from us just because you don't agree. That's all I ask.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, please.
My name is Alyssa, and I suffer from severe post-traumatic stress disorder, high anxiety, and depression. And I am actually allergic to the marijuana plant. And when I found out that what I was having was flashbacks and stuff, I refused to take medication. And that's when I found out I was actually allergic to the marijuana plant, because I tried. And I know that there's plenty of people that suffer from PTSD and anxiety and depression, as do I. And I struggle with it every day. I can't even take a shower because I can't stand my own skin on my body. I can't do a lot of things. I can't go to the beach. I can't be around certain people and stuff. And these people need it. You can't do that to them.
Thank you. There's someone in the front row who wants? Yes, please.
If you want to move that chair, get away from the door so I can right.
Am I coming?
Not at the, there is a chair back there for somebody, okay? Yeah. That might be easier since you're trying to take notes.
Yeah, I'd be happy to get out of
And
here.
then somebody else can sit down.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes,
And we
please.
could all come together have some more seats.
My name is Simone Fish. I'm here not as a patient or a grower or any form of processor, but as an ally. I'm around a number of people who depend upon medical marijuana for quality of life reasons. Like my friend Tasha here, who would be essentially agoraphobic to the point of being unable to be here without said medication. I'm here on behalf of all of those whose rights are being stepped on, in that we are a medically legal state, and there are people that do not have the access to dispensaries further out down the island. The main thing I wanted to point out here was an issue of legality and of crime rates. Since its inception in 2008, none of our UP dispensaries have had an incident involving the drug itself or its handling, nor have we had an issue of things finding their way into the wrong hands. The only issue any dispensary in our region has had was a federal firearms regulation breach, in which they housed guns in the same place where they have been selling medical marijuana. If you're worried about the crime rate, closing down Zen Garden is not the way to deal with it. And in doing so, as so many have already graciously and bravely stepped up to point out, It would drive patients to the black market. Demonizing these people and turning them into criminals for the medicine that they need is not the humane path.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the council? Sorry, Barb, you get one chance.
No, that's
Sorry.
Julie. That's Julie.
Okay.
Oh, that's Julie, I'm sorry. Okay, please. Yes.
Is it appropriate for a young woman to be listening to all this, or?
There's nothing that I think
I
is
believe that's the
appropriate.
You
I don't
think
think
she's
there's
pretty
anything
young?
appropriate.
I just have a concern, but if her mother does not, I guess we'll go with it.
This is my daughter, she's 9.
No, I don't think there's anything inappropriate.
I just have a
Yeah.
concern about children involved in those sometimes.
So, okay, so Julie, yeah, please.
This is a picture of my son Vince. In May of 2016, he was diagnosed with glioblastoma, an aggressive and potentially deadly form of brain cancer. After undergoing surgery to remove the tumor, he received the protocol treatment of 6 weeks of radiation and oral chemotherapy. In June of that year, he also added activated cannabis extract to his treatment regimen and began daily doses each morning. He also used cannabis edibles during the monthly 5-day chemotherapy treatments, which reduced associated nausea and also helped him maintain an inner calm and positive outlook. He had his first post-surgery MRI in July, where we got to view his brain scan with the radiologist, who noted the area where the tumor had been was clear, although at that point the glia cells were inactive. They were still present. After finishing the prescribed chemotherapy rounds and continuing highly concentrated cannabis concentrates, he returned to the radiologist for MRIs every 2 months. With each appointment, his doctors continued to report less and less post-operative tumor activity with each subsequent scan. And as of November 22nd of this year, he's cancer-free. It is of paramount importance that medical marijuana remain available to Michigan patients who have paid for it and maintain their legal status. Closing down certified dispensaries leaves patients without a safe and pure processed source for their medicines. The evidence is rapidly growing in the documented healing properties of activated cannabis extracts. I'm excited for the future of medical marijuana, and I feel a strong responsibility to spread this information. There are many misconceptions about this medicinal plant among the general public, yet it has been heavily researched and recognized by credible scientific studies. I feel a need to tell my son's story to anyone who is interested, and my prayer is that it will be received with an open mind and a compassionate heart.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else?
Okay.
Yes, please.
Hello, my name is Cherie. I have a few statistics from a couple different websites. Like this first one is from CNN.money.com. Colorado harvested over $500 million in taxes and fees, and last year, $506 million since the sales began, and $200 million in the last year alone. In Colorado, they also made $105 million from 2016 to 2017 for their fiscal year with their marijuana tax cash fund. And they put aside some for next year. $15.3 million in housing assistance. This is how they separated it. 15.3 went to housing assistance, 9.7 million to the State Department of Education, 7 to the Department of Human Services, 5.9 went to help with illegal pot sales. This is from the Denver Post. They gave money to schools, and they set up in 2016 $40 million for the best school construction projects were set up. In January 2016 in Oregon, these stats are from MaryJane.com. In Oregon, they have a 25% tax
on recreational sales, and in 1 month, 309 dispensaries made $14 million. In Oregon, 40% of the tax went to education and 20% went to mental health and drug services. These are just some things that you could do with your tax revenue that you make. And thank you for listening.
Thank you. Anyone else? In the back. Oh, yes, please.
I just want to point out also that, you know, all those stats there, you know, Michigan also has double the population as Colorado too. So our numbers are projected, you know, double, but we also have triple the medical patients that Colorado had at the time. And I just wanted to also point out that, you know, not passing these ordinance and regulations, it wouldn't be stopping anything. I mean, people are still growing in their houses now. What you're doing by not passing an ordinance is, you know, not letting regulation happen. You know, it's basically, it's already not regulated in everyone's house right now, this and that, and this is just, you know, would be putting more surveillance, more, you know, more secure places in place, so.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Yes, please.
I have a letter for you. I had a presentation to give you, but I'm not going to. You are going to want to read this, and you will share it with your friends who would like it or not. You will want to know this because that one there will end up explaining to you. Now, I understand the argument on marijuana. If you approach it from a religious aspect, read the scripture, it says nothing about marijuana. It talks about side effects. It talks about a lot of side effects. Make sure that you understand that. Marijuana is not a demon. It is not a demon. It's advertised all the time that it is. There is nothing in marijuana that's addictive. If you believe there is, you should look and see if it actually is. You should ask doctors. These people are not very good at communicating, and you people aren't either. These people are going to learn, and I guarantee you they're going to learn, okay? That's fairness. That's give and take. All they're asking for is a medication. Now, if you wanted to throw the Bible into it, if you do it recreational, I believe it's Leviticus, recreational is against God. And God says that we follow the laws of man. So if we're following the laws of man, medical marijuana is not illegal. Recreation is. Now you want to combat crime? You get that gentleman right there in uniform, money, so you can go after the illegal stuff. That's far worse than anything you're going to get from that. I want you to think about that. It's a very easy thought to do. Just remember, these people are trying to communicate with you any way they can. They'll get better, but you got to give them a chance to get better. You got to understand the issues. Medical marijuana is in God's law. It doesn't say marijuana, but it's the law, and you can follow it if you follow God. If you take it from a non-theistic attitude, it's medicine. We all take medicine. And the only difference is you get it from somebody that's not a licensed pharmacist. It's not a licensed pharmacist, and that's going to change too. It will all change in time. And that's all I want you to understand. That's it. Understand that these people are trying. All they want, and you have the total control. You can monitor that store any way you want. There's no giving up anything for you. You get money. You get, if they go and they have a special for disabled veterans, you get money. That veteran gets help. I'm a disabled veteran. I don't do marijuana. That's just a choice. I want you to think about that. If the total decision comes down to whether or not to have this versus illegal, go with this. Not what I wrote, but that story. You have all the power. Take it. Give that man money so he can go after all of these kids. Everybody's kids in Calumet, they're out there in the woods smoking the illegal dope. Don't go after this woman. All she's trying to do is give you the power to have authority over what she does and do it the best way she can. That's it. So I just hope, I'm not going to sway any of you. I'm not. That's not my intent. If you are persuaded, I hope you are, for the good reasons. But at least think about it. Look at the evidence. Take the time. Your kids in Calumet High School are out there in the woods causing damage. They're smoking, they're drinking, they're doing pot. They're the kids in the churches. They're the kids in the schools, the sports. What do you want? Legal? Verified? They're having a lab do their stuff? You're not going to get the stuff laced with marijuana and cocaine. That's on this street now. That is true. You can go to his department and find it. That's all you got to do. Thank you.
5 minutes.
Good. There you go. You will want to read this.
Thank you.
And what is your name, sir, so we know?
Eric Johnson.
What is it?
Eric Johnson.
And you're representing something? Yourself, okay, not a church or?
You'll want, no.
Okay, I just.
2 minutes?
No, we're
Just
done. No,
like
I
that.
understand, we're done. We're done, Mike.
No, I'm not representing.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
We only get one shot?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, yes, Nathan.
First of all, I'm going to stand over here. I don't mean to put my back to you guys. One thing I noticed when we were speaking is that you guys couldn't see everybody that was speaking. Maybe because you were not wanting to see those people. You know, I've been hard on you guys, and if you guys look me in the eye, I'll apologize all day long. I've been hard on you guys. I really have. There's a lot wrong going on in Calumet. You know, it's kind of amazing to see this crowd. And some of you might tomorrow say, oh, it was full of growers or whatever. But you know what? These are all patients. These are all people that have been suffering for a long time and been treating themselves. You know, you can't turn away from it, Virginia. This is real stuff. This is real stuff. You know, people have been growing marijuana in Calumet for a long time. Longer than I've lived in Calumet. For as long as you've lived here. Virginia, you lived here all your
Why are you
life.
speaking to me?
Because you won't look me in the eye, Miss Virginia.
You stared at
If
me
you would,
for
if you would
a
please,
half
if
an
you
hour.
would please not interrupt me, I will continue. All right? Now, people have been growing in Calumet for a very, very long time. All right? You're not going to stop that from happening. You know, on Friday, on midnight, the governor and the legislature made criminals out of every caregiver that when one of these patients, any one of these patients except for maybe one in this room, comes to me and they don't have medication, I can no longer give it to them or I'll be breaking the law. It used to not be that before Friday. We tried to explain this to you all year long, starting in January. But instead, I've been thrown out of meetings for allegedly smelling like pot with brand new clothes on. You know, you've delayed, and then you took advantage last week in a meeting, knowing that Dave wasn't here to even tie a vote. It was wrong. It was wrong. But you guys can make this right. See, we only have the one ordinance to look at now, and we've got ordinance committee meetings. And if you guys will work with me and you work with these people, we can get an ordinance drafted that'll be good for everybody, not just Alicia with her dispensary, not with all these folks, not just for them, you know, but for all of Calumet. You know, there's more to it than just the dispensaries. You know, there's processors. You wouldn't believe how many people are processing up here. We're processing up here. There's people making a living doing that, and you're denying them the opportunity to make a legal living of doing it here. Legal living, you know what I mean? This is the youth of Calumet. They just barely standing on their own feet and staying at home, and you guys won't let the industry even get a start. You know, I mean, this is got to stop. You know, labs. You know how much money they could bring. You know how much money they could bring to Calumet, not including. I'm not even talking about tax money. Chris, you need money for buildings and getting the historical district renovated. This business can do it, but we have to market it. Lori Okernine, Downtown Development Authority. If you guys were marketing Calumet as a pot-friendly town, that we could bring business here, then we can make money off of it. Same thing, you know, I mean, but our business and community, our historic district, and our leaders have let us down on this, and I don't know why. I know why Sharon doesn't want it. Sharon hates anything that has to do with pot. And I'm not attacking you, Sharon, I'm just telling you the truth, you know? And I know where you're at, Virginia. I believe you, honestly, I believe this is my fault. I think if I would have never stepped up, Virginia would have used her head and passed this a long time ago. But no, because it's Nate, she doesn't want to do it. Is that it? Or is it you're just forgetting all these people?
She doesn't have an obligation to respond.
Good job, Dave. Dave, you had an obligation to call a special meeting last week. You are a leader. Unfortunately, we haven't acted that way for the last 2 years. You dropped the ball on this one. I'm not going to stand here all day and point out the misappropriation of funds, the official misconduct in office. I'm not going to sit here and point that out to those people. But I will point out that you let them down big time this week. You could have called a special meeting. And you didn't have to lie and tell these folks that you needed 4 trustees to call a special meeting. It would have changed the vote, because if she wants to play dirty pool when there's a trustee out of town, you could have done the same thing. Held the vote on Thursday, Sandy was out of town. It would be passed right now. They would be in business, and these people would get their medicine. Ladies and gentlemen, I got a little bit more excited than I want to. You have a good night.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Yes, please.
After studying for the actual bill 4209, I know we were worried about how much it's going to cost Calumet to police this or enforce this. Section 303, subsection 2 states that the state police, the board has to enforce it, and they were using the state police for all enforcement. And the state police, because of the subsection, will be repaid by fees throughout the marijuana taxes. Then the only other question I had was, I'm curious because how is 6 people a quorum when there should be 7? The way I read this, the act, the Township Act, that 10 days after Tyler Ross left office, you guys are required to put someone else in office. First of all, you're required to post it out to the public to allow them their chance to throw their hat in the ring. And then you're required to put someone else in office so we're not stuck in positions of 3-3.
It's right in the very beginning of the general village law.
Yeah, general village
You
law.
might ask Ms. Germain why she moved to keep that seat open until November of 2018.
It doesn't matter the way I understand it.
I'm not going to argue with you.
With you guys 3-3, without legal quorum, and you guys can talk about whatever you want, but anything you pass it's null and void until you have a correct quorum. I mean, we didn't have a quorum for the meeting the other week, which is why it got canceled. And I understood that because there was Peggy was the only one who showed up.
Thank you. All right, is there anyone else? Yes, please.
Hi, Council. I just moved to town, everybody. I mean, I really feel for a lot of these people. I don't know a lot of what's going on, but I'm just curious if, like, the Councilor Dave could answer, like, why does it need to stay vacant until November 2018?
There was a motion by the council to do so.
Okay. But just a motion to keep it until 2018? Is that like when elections happen?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. But it can, in theory, be filled before 2018.
Or could indeed, yes.
What are the requirements for that? I'm curious.
You need to be a village resident, and again, you need to have a vote from the majority of the council to seat you. Okay, is that it?
That's it. Yeah, I'm Andrew. I just moved into the old Miner's Daughter Antique Store. I run the Rabbit Island Foundation. I just wanted to introduce myself. We run an international artist residency program off Rabbit Bay. I've been up here like the last 6 years, but now I've moved here more officially.
Well, we hope you stay here because all the other businesses leaving.
No, I'm definitely fixing up that building and hopefully doing a lot of great things.
We have
Thank
a
you.
space for art if you want to make some art.
Thanks. Yeah, definitely. And I'd be really interested to be more active in the village if I could be, and so I don't know how to like kind of, you know, put myself forward for more committees and meetings or council, but yeah, I'd be interested.
Leave a number and we'll get in touch with you, and you're more than welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, you have a comment?
Yeah, I just want to say that, I don't know, I use a lot of drugs all over the road and everything like that. And, I spent a lot of time in NA and AA, and a couple of things that were brought up here. And I've had some good times, but first of all, I've never seen one verified study, and I have studied it very thoroughly, that marijuana cures pain and that it's not addicting. It's especially addicting in teenage girls. And one of the reasons it might kill pain is because it causes lesions in the brain, the same way that like cocaine and those kind of drugs would cause brain lesions. And so that's maybe why it kills their pain, I'm not sure. But I know the doctors prescribe it for pain. It's true that it does work with epilepsy and glaucoma, and there's certain things that it definitely works for. And I don't think the issue here is, you know, whether it works or not. The issue is, you know, would it let this business be established? As far as the Bible goes, I know he says be sober and vigilant. And as far as the law goes, and God's law, he says the law did what it could, but he sent one Savior, and you know, that was Christ. It's not marijuana. Anyway, what else am I supposed to say? Anyway, I just saw a bunch of stone people rambling tonight, really, and I think that like we buy and sell property here and do the different things. We can't even get people to come to Calumet to do things. I know I can get beat up in the parking lot, but I'm from Detroit, so be careful.
We're not violent.
Yeah. Oh right, yeah. Okay, anyway.
We don't have lesions either.
Let it speak, please.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, yeah, buying and selling property stuff, and really, when we rent properties, we can't get people to come to Calumet anymore. Okay, it's the pot thing and the drug thing is really gone bad. It's like, well, it's going to force people to go to an illegal black market. From what I've seen, I know people that grow it and sell it and dispense it at home. They are the illegal black market. You know, they are the ones that they might not tell you that at a town meeting, but that's how it gets filtered into the kids. And like they have something called, you know, Zen Gardens in the middle of a block, dispensing pot. You know, I don't see where that's going to help the city at all. I just don't see it. And, so what I should, excuse me, what I should do is say, that's the end, and that's all I have to say, but keep rambling, you know. But anyway, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anyone else? Lori?
Something altogether. Regarding the public space, what's known as the sculpture park on the 400 block, or 300 block, I would just like the council to consider, if you're considering it tonight, reconsider having a conversation with the stakeholders in the park, the DDA Main Street, the Cuna National Park, and volunteers who maintain the park, you know, before, you know, to discuss options before giving away this valuable public space. I think that there's, you know, several years ago, the council approved a plan for the park that Main Street had presented. So I'm wondering, is it considered a park? Is it, you know, I think those questions should be looked at before you guys just give away an important public space. And I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Was she talking about Bucko's lot?
Yeah, it should be.
I'm sorry.
But that is the lot she's talking about. It's the lot next to the south of Bucko's.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes, please.
Yes, I'd like to address the council on the issue of the alleyway that is directly behind us. From what I've heard, it's no longer going to be plowed in the new year unless a certain amount of money is raised or something in that regard. I would personally, as a manager of a business that has that alleyway, would stress the village to continue plowing it as our snow removal costs have already been doubled. And on a side note about the Zen Garden, I'm sure you've seen the papers. It Didn't take Portage Township very long to pass an ordinance, so we're just losing business in Calumet. That's going to affect us probably sixfold. If a patient drives to Houghton to get their medicine, well, they probably do their grocery shopping in Houghton as well. Maybe they go out to eat, or go have a drink, or fill up their gas tank. So that's just more and more money coming, leaving the town. And tax money doesn't grow on trees. We need to have a pro-business stance and support new businesses in town. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, then we will move on to the next item of business. And that is the minutes of November 28th, the last regularly scheduled council meeting. So, are there any changes to those minutes? November 28th, yes. Do you want to give people a minute or leave? So it looks like everybody else is going to stay, okay. So again, we are considering the minutes for November 28th.
There's a glaring omission in the minutes because the council actually made a motion and voted that
Could you be quiet back there, please? I mean, we're trying to conduct business.
to have a say about the master plan. And
Yeah, there's more people maybe run to the
thank you all.
I got one more question. Are we going to talk about Bucko's lot one more time, or?
The public does not, after we've now ended petitions from the
well,
public.
I only get one shot. I didn't know that.
Yes, no, you only get one shot, so.
But I can't say, oh, well, that's not fair.
You can ask me to meeting, but
Those are our rules of procedure.
Okay.
All right, so Peg, do you have something on the master plan?
Let's see, I'm looking for the minutes. In the minutes, I don't know where, can you find 28? There, it says, what are you looking at here, Peg? Right here. What are you looking at? Trustee Dwyer made a motion that we have a resolution that we resolve to assert the right to approve or reject the master plan.
That was made a couple months ago. That was made a couple months ago.
It was a 28.
Okay.
She seconded, and then the vote was 5-0. There was no mention of that, and if we approve these minutes without it in the minutes, then we approve the plan and we have no say. It's what the planning commission wants, period. So we cannot approve the minutes.
So what do you want inserted in the minutes? What are you saying needs to be?
Well, what happened?
Right, that's what I'm asking.
She's right, that number 7 did happen.
So number 7, okay. So what happened, so we...
Well, it's on here.
So there was some concern, I can't recall what
No,
prompted
not,
discussion.
it's entirely
About
different.
the
Do not
master
release a plan.
But it was indicated that the council has the right to veto the plan or not eventually, but to do that, they have to state they want to do it.
Well, it says right on page 3.
So there was a
if we read
motion
the
and a
plan.
second, and everybody voted.
Okay, we'll have to review the tapes then.
I mean, right on the plan, it says, the master plan may project 20 years or more into the future. The plan adoption is subject to a public hearing and approval by resolution of the Village of Calumet Planning Commission and Village Council. The Village Council approval is optional. optional, but highly recommended. So we're paying $60,000 for someone to tell us it's recommended, that the village council has a say. And the motion, if we don't put it in our minutes, then it's wrong. And
Well, it's not an issue as to, you know, whether it has this effect or that effect. It was a part of the meeting. There was a motion and a second, and there was a vote that the village council had a right to.
All right, so we will table the minutes then.
we need the resolution, and there were other, let's see if I can find
Well, I can interject, it really
Yeah.
was meant for the council to have the final say as provided in the ordinance. It wasn't to not release it to the public. So we didn't release it for public review at that time, as we had asked him for some changes in September that didn't happen.
And then he has corrected
And
them.
he has corrected some,
Yeah.
so it wasn't.
Okay, so regardless, we're going to table these minutes until January, until that
Right.
is corrected. Is that the only exception that you have?
No, there were things like the minutes would be available, okay, after the meeting, and it's 5 days after the meeting. I'll find them.
Minutes to be
Let's see.
reported by 5 days after the meeting, Peggy, is that what you're saying?
It's 8 days, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah, it's 8 business days.
8 business days for the minutes, but
Yeah.
after the minutes have been approved.
Oh, it's 5, you're correct.
It's 5.
It's 5 days, yes, that's correct.
Yeah, but it doesn't say that, it says after the meeting, at least there. So that's a misnomer too.
So then that's just get the minutes are tabled till January.
Till January, yes, that's
Yeah.
Now, but if you need every citation, you can't go on until I find it.
Yeah, Keith, could you ask them to keep it down in the lobby?
Let's see. I asked and have continued to ask, is it which motions are a majority of those present and which ones are a majority of the total electorate? Because if something goes through 3-2, did it really go through for an ordinance?
So in general, it does. It is a correct statement that with respect to sales of property, we need a majority of all the council people. So the Aaron Buckovich vote for last month is not enough to carry the issue. We need 4-2 or 5-1 or more to, on real estate. But in general, otherwise, unless you can find something specific.
Well, like the medical marijuana, I also see that's in here and it's 3-2. If that's a big issue about an ordinance, is that need 4 as well? I mean, I've asked, this is the third year I'm on the council, and I keep saying which ones require a majority of the total electorate and which require a majority of those present.
Well, in order for there to be an ordinance, you've got to have a majority, 3-2, or, you know, they voted no ordinance, which is, you know, it's not a positive act. There isn't going to be an ordinance unless there's majority of a quorum that votes in favor of it.
But that's why we need crystal clear, a list of which votes required.
There are, Peggy, there, you know,
We do
the
the same
statute,
thing over and over.
the statutes,
Well, and
there are
again,
25
Yeah.
volumes of
Okay.
statutes.
we
You're not going to go
noted,
through
we
25
noted
volumes
your
of statutes.
concern,
Okay,
but that has nothing to do with the minutes.
Yeah.
okay.
You know, it would probably be advisable to do is to look at the minutes before the meeting and make your objections in writing so that we don't spend 20 minutes or so while folks fumble and so on trying to.
Well, yes. But that's because the minutes that I got on Friday are different than the set that was on the table for me to read today. And you only have so much time, and a resolution was presented right here at the meeting, and so you have
Alrighty,
so many
let's not
last
argue back and
minute
forth.
papers.
Let's just keep the
that-
meeting moving if we could.
Yeah,
So-
table it, and when we
Until
revisit it,
January.
I think that's a really wonderful point. I will put the corrections I think should be included in writing,
Really
so
good
there
idea.
is no
Really good idea.
question.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
and that, and I will, do you want me to give it to you?
No, I'm not interested, but I, you know, I'm an old guy, and I like to go to bed at 11 o'clock. And, you know.
All right, so let's keep moving this along.
I want to sit around until after midnight, every meeting, you know.
So we will table the minutes until the January meeting.
Okay,
Um,
but anyone who speaks to the court, if you would mention that it's entirely different when you say not release it to the public, that's one thing. But when you want to have it in court and you say it's got to give the council the final approval, that's what the resolution needs to state. That's what the Michigan Enabling and Planning Act states. And I question our planning commission, if they're coming up with this plan and there's 4 people on the planning commission now, there were 5, 1 resigned, and 2 don't live in the municipality. I'm getting pretty tired of people that don't live in the town making decisions for the people that live within the village border. And I don't
But
know what
again,
kind of
we're
input they
discussing
have.
minutes.
Okay.
We're
Yeah,
discussing
table.
minutes.
Yeah.
All right, so the next item is the events of Wednesday, December 13th, 2017. First, do you want to go first?
Sure, I can go first. Do we want to read the resolution first? So
It's up to you, whatever the
Okay,
council
we're
wants
gonna,
to do.
here's a resolution that's been drawn up by the village. First of all, I want to say we had a lot of comments about medical marijuana. What I'm going to say is, and the other council people can speak for themselves, we looked at this issue for months and months and months and months. We had special meetings, we had special this, special that. What it boiled down to is, we were just like 95+% of the entire UP, every jurisdiction in the UP, there's more than 95% of all jurisdictions have decided either to opt out or do nothing at this time until they see how this thing is going to progress. That's the plan we took. As a group, never had the intention to say, this is no forever, this is yes forever, we wanted to see how it was going to proceed. Because there's a high likelihood that this is going to get on the ballot and it's going to maybe pass, maybe not pass. So we took a wait and see attitude, just like 95, it might even be 98% of all jurisdictions in the UP. So we're not the only people that decided to do nothing at this time. Just want to make that clear.
And Virginia, just to add to what you say, when going online and looking, I found 4 townships, 1 city in
Right.
the Upper Peninsula that passed
It may
ordinances
be-
related to medical marijuana. So,
And you have to also understand is, we have to make good decisions for this little jurisdiction. What it's going to entail with law enforcement, with regulation, with everything. We took a wait and see to see how it's going to fit for this village. That's why we made that decision to do nothing. Now, bear in mind too that anyone that is a, caregiver that has patients, and there's a lot of them, that's still available to people, medical marijuana, okay? And there's going to be there's a dispensary in Houghton. It isn't like it's gone forever. there's ways they can get their medicine. But I have sympathy for people that have pain, things like that, but we have to make good decisions for this village, and that's why that decision was made. The thing I want to talk about next is, we had an incident on Wednesday, December 13th, and I'm going to read the resolution here, and then I'm going to add some things because it personally affected me. It's called the Resolution of the Village of Calumet concerning the events of Wednesday, December 13th, 2017. Minutes of a regular meeting of the Village Council of the Village of Calumet, Michigan Municipal Corporation. Herein, the Village Council held at the Village Hall on 340 6th Street, Calumet, Michigan, 49913 on Tuesday, December 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is what's going to... Okay, present tonight are council members, President Dave Geisler, Trustee Sharon Abramson, James Camps, Virginia Dwyer, Peggy Jermaine, and Sandra Johnson. Absent, none. Okay? And this is what the Village Council is going to look at and vote on if we want to pass this resolution. The Village Council resolves on the evening of Wednesday, December 13, 2017, Nathan Anderson, with the knowledge of the owners of the Zen Garden, organized and led a demonstration of supporters of a medical marijuana dispensary in the village of Calumet. The protesters, in quotes, proceeded to the homes of President Dave Geisler and Trustee Virginia Dwyer to intimidate and harass. These actions including trespassing on private property, creating a threatening environment by loudly pounding on the president's and the trustees' front door repeatedly, screaming for them to come out of their homes, approaching their homes to peer through their windows, blocking traffic, and other acts. To protect the elected officials of Calumet as well as the residents of the village, these actions resulted in the Calumet Village Police, Lorien Village Police, and the Michigan State Police having to respond to calls from the village president and Trustee Dwyer and for them to patrol in the early hours of the morning. In addition, Nathan Anderson on social media made an offer of free marijuana to holders of medical marijuana cards, a misdemeanor punishable by 1 year in prison. That's on public social media. Anybody, someone that is a caregiver, according to public social media, donated medical marijuana, and then the Zen Garden was going to hand that out to the card holders as an incentive to show up. Be it resolved that this village council condemns the actions of Nathan Anderson, the owners of the Zen Gardens, and their supporters. This village will not tolerate intimidation and harassment of its elected officials. The village council further condemns any attempts to intimidate and harass the elected officials, representatives of the village, cease immediately. And then, we have to vote on this. I'm going to add a little something to that. There was a meeting that was called by Nathan Anderson, who was the Zoning Board of Appeals chair, for that evening at 7:30. There's 5 members. 3 one was out of town and 2 could not come. So the meeting had to be canceled because you cannot hold a meeting with just 2 people. There's no quorum. At the same time, on public social media, Mr. Nathan Anderson was telling people that there's been donations of marijuana to medical marijuana card holders, and we're going to meet at 7 o'clock, and we're going to present ourselves at the village hall to, in essence, our village president had to open the door for said meeting to ambush him, to make them listen. So the meeting for the zoning...
I knew that was another act of intimidation.
Yeah,
To get me here alone to face
yes,
30 to 40 people.
right. So then what happens is, the meeting's canceled, the door is closed, so they decide they're going to walk around town. They go to his house. He can explain what happened at his house. Probably close to 8 o'clock in the evening. I live alone. I'm not very easily intimidated by people, but this group was something else, okay? Nathan Anderson went up my front steps. I have front steps, the door's right there. I have blacktop and then there's the road. Not knocking, but boom, 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 you need to come out, boom, 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 and then people yelling, and there's people in my yard, and I opened the door and I said, you need to leave, you're trespassing, get off my property. I shut the door. It kept going on, finally I thought, I've had enough, so I called 911 law enforcement. I said, you need to come and get these people off of my property, okay? Now, the most disturbing part was, it was disturbing they were there and they were, you know, violating and trespassing, but the most disturbing part to me is there was a group of 40 or 50 people that had little children out there in snowsuits, and it's 13 degrees out, okay? But the worst thing for me, and I'm a parent as well as a grandparent, there were babies in strollers out there, and the snow's this deep and it's freezing, and they're out there screaming, 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 and it's like, you know, like, make a good choice in life. They're, you know, they have the right to voice their opinion, they have the right to protest. They do not have the right to invade my private property. They do not have the right to block a public street with not only people, but there was cars on either side, okay? They don't have the right to do that, okay? Absolutely do not, and I will not tolerate it, period. I don't know what we're going to do about this. There's, like I said, there's 95+% of other jurisdictions that are doing a wait and see, you know, process with this too. I haven't heard of anybody else that's getting this kind of like flack and bullying, and it just goes on and on and on and on. And the only way it's going to stop that I can see is if we give them what they want. Well, what they're doing right now is they're acting very unprofessional and acting like thugs. This was not a rally, this was a mob. Now, our village president can tell you about his experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. I lived in Chicago for 40 years. I never felt unsafe, I never felt threatened. On Wednesday night, when there's 40 people marching up your front walk, and again, pounding, not knocking, pounding on your door, bellowing for you to come out of your house, when I have footprints still in my front yard because my dining room lights are on, people trying to peer into my house to find out where I was, I immediately called 911. For the first time in my life, I did not feel safe in my house. And I don't care how many great stories we heard this evening, you do not try to intimidate public officials. You do not threaten them. You do not bully them. And that's exactly what happened. And I had been a supporter of a dispensary, but you know what? No more. You will not get my support. You cannot run a responsible, law-abiding business. I mean, this is just simply intolerable. It is despicable. I cannot tell you how angry. You can tell this evening. I am still furious that I could not feel safe in my own home. Our poor officer had to work till 4 a.m. And I want to thank him because you know what? He was very proactive in getting the state police involved, in getting the Lorien police involved. He was so good as to call me the next day to say, had anything happened? And I did, I feel safe. I believe he called some of our trustees who also had been in opposition to taking any action to make sure that their property had not been damaged and that they were okay. You know, there was a headline in our paper that talked about government repression. The only police state tactics that occurred were those of the protesters on Wednesday evening, December 13th. Period. That's what happens in third world countries, not in the United States. And there's something seriously wrong when people feel free to threaten. Who does the owner of Zen Garden, who does Nathan Anderson represent? You know, we represent the people of the village of Calumet. We were elected by them, not them. And this has to stop. That's all I have to say. No, I'm sorry. Petitions from the public are over. So no, that's it.
And I gotta have one more thing. If I ever, you know, looking back in retrospect, you know, Child Protective Services should have been called that evening. They should have been called, okay? Because you don't take out babies in strollers and third.
Well, and that's a shame. That is a shame that you did not know that.
I did.
Okay, babies in strollers and little children, they do not have to get involved with adult subjects, okay? That must have been very scary for these little kids in snowsuits having law enforcement pull up. You had this, in front of my place, we had Calumet PD, our chief.
Tell them how it was, Keith.
You are out of order.
Throw me out, Dave. Tell them how
Fine.
it was, Keith. Set this straight.
And these little kids had to see law enforcement pulled up. And so no wonder that people don't respect law enforcement because they grew up seeing this stuff, and they shouldn't see this stuff. I'm sorry. It was absolutely ridiculous. You know, there's proper ways. We as a council were waiting to see how other jurisdictions were gonna pan out, and we were gonna make decisions later on, okay? We weren't just gonna jump into this, you know, full feet and you know, just take the ramifications later, okay? What people don't tell you, and I'm pretty, you know, I'm not gonna use bad words, and I could. There are states, and I'll give you an example of one of the states, because I have a child that lives there. It's Alaska. In Alaska, it's recreational marijuana right now, okay? And they made last year something like, I don't know, $18 million, but because of all the new people they had to add, and the regulations, and the on and on and on, they don't even make any money. They're losing money, for God's sakes. Okay,
Well, and George, we're getting off topic.
I know we are,
This
but
is
I'm
what
just
we need to
infuriated
discuss.
about this whole thing. We have to keep a democracy, a semblance of like, you know, everybody's not gonna be happy all the time, but I'm gonna say it, damn it, you gotta act like decent human beings, not like a mob. And I will not tolerate it, ever again, ever.
Yes.
And I'm done.
Is there anyone else who wants to comment? If not, you have a resolution in front of you as read by Trustee Dwyer. Is there a motion to accept that resolution?
I'll make a motion to accept that resolution.
All right, is
And
there a
I
second?
support it.
Okay, Sharon, thank you. All right, we need to have a roll call vote. I think it's important that people know where people stand on what happens on Wednesday evening.
I question, when it says Nathan Anderson on social media made an offer of free marijuana. I don't know that. You gave this to me.
It exists. You want copies of it? You can vote against it. You
Peggy,
can
would
vote
you like a
against
copy?
it.
But I mean,
You are out of order. Would you
Would you like a
please
copy?
sit down?
Well, I just
Doesn't
like,
say that.
It
Doesn't
says
say
it
that.
on Facebook.
Let's not argue.
No,
Let's
it-
not argue. Let's not argue.
I just would hate to support a resolution.
You vote aye or nay as you choose,
truly
if you
don't think
condone
that the village should tolerate intimidation or harassment of elected officials. I think it's really unfortunate that they were pounding on the door. and it was
Unfortunate, that's the worst you can say.
Oh my God.
Well,
What they
I
went
mean,
through, Peggy, I'll tell you what exactly it said about the marijuana. It said on Nathan Anderson's public post, it says, a caregiver, you know, a caregiver, he didn't say himself, has provided free marijuana at the, you know, for every card holder. Bring your
but
card.
there's so much stuff
Okay,
on the internet that is not true. that
Okay,
if I-
let's vote please, Mr. President.
Oh my God.
It's gotten to the,
If I haven't seen it, I'm not gonna say he made that offer. I'd be a fool.
does somebody have a smartphone that wants to show it?
If you could show me,
Nathan,
I would
Nathan,
certainly.
I'll be glad to show it to you if my battery will come on. But it says an anonymous caregiver has donated marijuana to every card holder that comes to the Zen. It did not state my name. It did not state Alicia's name.
You posted it.
It did, hey, I posted it, but it didn't say me. Read your resolution, correct that, then pass your resolution. If you want to condemn me for what these people need, the people that were in here need, you want to ignore them, then go right ahead. By condemning me, it's not going to change how they feel. And
All
you know
right,
what?
that's
If this
it.
was done in
You
the
have your 5
springtime,
minutes. Please
imagine
sit
the
down.
crowd in the
Please
springtime.
sit down.
Thanks.
Just imagine the crowd.
I guess I never, and you spent 3 years watching how I behave. When you've given me things at meetings and you want me to approve them, I never do it.
You know, Peggy, you
because-
vote the way you want, okay?
Okay, yeah, you
Because, now I just got it, I'd like to really study
Yes,
it.
of
I'd
course.
like to know if Nathan actually made the offer, if he's the one.
He read it to you.
Yeah, that's it.
He read it to you.
It was wrong
It
to
was
go
illegal.
to their houses.
He said a caregiver has
Had
donated
they,
marijuana.
had they stayed in the public right of way,
But
it
they-
would have been fine.
but
They
this
came to
combines
our doors.
Was the place to do it.
Hey, you can
Not
vote yes
Hey,
or no.
just one at a
This is
time,
outrageous
please.
That's
stuff.
fine.
That's
Okay,
one
you
at
can
a
vote
time.
whatever you want.
All right, I'm going to call, do a roll call vote. So Jim?
change some of the wording. I like the, be resolved, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna say no, because some of this, like Peggy said, I did not have a chance to research. There's 2 paragraphs here, I don't know.
Okay, which paragraphs don't you know? Okay,
I knew nothing about this until I walked in. I fully agree with a resolution of the council to condemn actions by anybody that's going to harass a village council member. I fully agree with that. As per calling people out, I was not aware of this until I walked into this meeting tonight. I had nothing, not a clue at all. And I'm getting hammered by stuff I don't know about.
Okay,
so I'm going to say no. I don't have enough research on this, so it's a no.
That's on you.
Okay, Sharon?
Yes.
Okay, Sandy?
Yes.
Birch?
Yes.
Okay, Peggy?
We have to be thoughtful, so I am a no at this point, but 90% of the content I support. It's the other 10 that I'm not gonna accuse anyone of wrongdoing if I haven't seen it or have enough documentation to be fair.
Fine. All right, resolution is passed.
Dave, what was your vote?
It is 4-2.
Dave?
Passed.
Oh, you said yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So if we can move on. Oh, sorry.
Can you vote? Wouldn't you be kind of biased if you're the one involved in the event? I mean, voting would
There's
probably
no
show-
bias here, Peggy. We were intimidated, we were harassed, we were trespassed about. Okay, it didn't happen. Our police officer was there. Would you like our police officer to explain what he had to do all night long? I mean, who are you gonna believe here? Are you gonna sit there and say, I don't believe certain things? I'm telling you it happened. Law enforcement can tell you. Dave Geisler experienced it as well.
I'm asking about Nate Anderson. Is he the one, clearly you have proof that he made the offer? Nate Anderson made the offer.
It doesn't say Nate
It doesn't.
Anderson.
Read it.
It doesn't say he gave the marijuana. He said he made an offer of free marijuana to cardholders. He made an offer for a caregiver. It is on Facebook, public Facebook. It does not say in there that he gave free marijuana. It does not say that.
Never offered it either.
You're out of order. And again,
We've already
I cannot tell you
but
how angry I am over what happened. I mean, this shouldn't be happening in the United States, and it should not be happening in our community.
Why couldn't we get this in our packet on Friday? And then maybe trustee Camp and I would have been 100% because we would have had on this last minute shove something down our throat. I'm still recovering from the 33.5-page 400,000 Morrison School plan that I had a half hour to read and they made me vote and I didn't even have enough time to read it. We keep doing this kind of stuff, so my fuse is getting shorter because I'm not going to do something stupid.
You excuse whatever you want to excuse.
Yeah.
All right, are there any questions on the DDA minutes? Sorry? Oh, wait, there's 2 other things I want to do. I shouldn't be moving on. Yeah, so we've passed the resolution. My next action is I am removing Nathan Anderson from the Zoning Board of Appeals as that being in the public interest. My reason for doing so is in the past, Nathan has repeatedly mounted boycotts or threatened business owners with boycotts of their businesses if they disagreed with him. As a result of actions taken in the Zoning Board of Appeals, a suit was filed against the Village of Calumet, which ultimately had to be settled in favor of the property owner. In October, there have been repeated disturbances of these meetings by Nathan Anderson. In October, he had to be removed from the meeting for repeatedly disturbing that. And finally, again, for the actions of Wednesday night, this man is not fit for public office. And again, in the public interest, I am removing him, and so I'm going to ask the council again by voice vote whether they want to affirm that decision of mine. So,
I support.
well, no, you just have your own approval. So again, okay, so Jim.
You're asking the yea or nay on.
Right, right. I is to remove him from the Zoning Board of Appeals.
No.
Okay, so you're in that. Okay. Sharon.
Yes.
Okay. Sandy.
Yes.
Okay. Birch.
Yes.
Peggy.
No, but I'm glad our attorney's here because if the zoning board is supposed to make decisions and then go straight to the court. Now we've made a decision with the council making a decision, and I didn't get the phone call that I'm supposed to get when the trustees get their packets, because my
We
computers
are
are.
voting on,
I
we
got
are
it.
voting on
I got it.
removing him. So are you an A or an aye or a nay?
Well, I'm a definite nay.
Okay? And I'm a yay. So, yeah, so Nathan is removed from the zoning board of appeals.
I'm just questioning the logistics. If the zoning board's supposed to go to the court, now our council, we voted like 5 to go back to the original plan, and I don't think we're in that mix, so I'd like to, I don't know when this consent judgment is going before the judge, but I'd like to talk to him, because I don't like having rules and then we go out of them, and then the council makes different decisions and they reverse everything, and it says in black and white that I read that we shouldn't be involved, and we just took the power away, and our attorney even drafted a new ordinance to make the council the zoning board. It's got to go to a public hearing, but nobody asked you to do that, did they? You don't have time to do some ordinances that we've been hankering for, but now you did that.
I spoke with the ordinance committee about it.
I'm on the ordinance committee. When did you speak to me?
But
There was no meeting.
I discussed this, but it's not ready yet. It's getting close to it, but I haven't completed an amendment to the zoning ordinance.
But I will call, just so if I can understand this, I'll get information from the judge how that we proceeded properly.
That really hasn't got anything to do with the action before the circuit court.
Well,
And again, we will discuss the consent judgment on the agenda. So if we could hold off till then.
It's coming up, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Sure.
Okay, and again, my other note is, again, Keith, I want to thank you. I do appreciate everything you've done for Virginia, myself, and frankly the
But
village.
now maybe, can Jim Camp and I vote, because we're on the zoning board, so we're biased, we should have abstained, I think. What do you think?
You can't abstain from the
You're
vote.
entitled to vote.
No, not, you can't vote on 2 boards, they always say. So,
You're entitled.
You are not voting on a zoning issue, you are voting on what the village president is doing. So it's not a zoning issue.
oh, it's.
All right, so the next item on the agenda is the DDA minutes. Are there any questions on the DDA minutes?
When the DDA gets grants, can we say after they choose who's to receive the monies, that the council also has some input? Because it seems that the DDA has controlled a lot of the money and a lot of the grants, and the council really doesn't know who's getting what. So I'd like to make.
Grants are always noted in the minutes of the DDA, so the council does have an opportunity to review them.
They're not in the minutes from the DDA. I've looked for years at the minutes.
I'm pretty sure they are, but, I mean.
Well, let's meet down here, they are, for an ordinance committee, and you can show me where it says who's gotten the grants and the amounts. If that's the case, then you don't need to do that oversight.
If there are no questions on the DDA, then I'll move. Sandy, do you have something?
No, I was just
Okay,
wondering.
then we'll just move on to the master plan. We would like the approval of the council to release the master plan for public comment. There's a requirement that the master plan be distributed to, is it about, Joe, is it about what, 7 or 8 organizations that the master plan gets distributed to? Or there is what, 7 or 8 organizations that the master plan has to be sent to?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and again, that opens up a 63-day comment period by the public to comment on the master plan.
When we release it, it's
Sorry.
supposed to be with 100% of our approval.
No, it's not. This is a
And
60-day, 3-day
Then you
period.
have a public hearing, and if you make changes, then you have to have another public hearing. So why don't, I sent Pat an email saying there are several key issues to voluminous to discuss in an email. It's my understanding that the plan should be done before any public hearing, or changes are made, or you have to repeat the process. Read the Michigan Enabling and Planning Act. And so I'm disappointed that there's been no guidance from you as to how to provide you with input from the trustees, and your contact information is not even on the plan to make it easy to contact you. Why don't you schedule a work session with the council and gather all of the trustee and president's questions / revisions, and then provide us with a clean draft. Also, it's difficult to read the black lettering on the dark gray boxes. For instance, it changes the clerk from being elected to appointed. It changed the treasurer. It says that we adopt this plan that we've already rejected for the building code because no building in Calumet would be allowed. Then it says rebuild 4th Street, Red Jacket, 2 Elm and Pine. We don't have a Red Jacket Street. So I don't even know where it is.
It's Red Jacket Road, 4th Street.
Yeah.
4th
But
Street
it's
starting
not
at
in the
Red Jacket
village.
Road.
What are we
Yeah,
talking
4th
about?
Street is.
Red Jacket Road is not.
No, but he's saying rebuild it from, again, we shouldn't be discussing,
But,
arguing
I mean,
over specific topics. The 60-day, 3-day period is for people to come back before we have a public hearing and say, yes, these are things that I would like to see changed. Because I will be honest, you may like to see some of those things taken out, I may like to see some of those things remain. So this is something that the council, the planning commission, and the council will have to decide. But to hold this up for another 2 months, I mean, again, we have 63 days to have anyone read it, including our trustees, before we even hold a public hearing. So it's not supposed to be done at this point. This is a draft, and it's supposed to go out to places like the township, to like Whoopiter.
My understanding, do you have the act with you, Mr. Churchill? I can look it up, but it's my understanding when we release it to the public, the 7 and 8 places, we're sanctioning what's written in it. We're saying we'll go with the capital improvements plan. It's not included. All these things that are in the appendix, I don't know if they're not in this.
And again, this is
So
opens
how
up a
do I know we
60,
can
this
approve
opens
it?
up a 63-day period for those kind of questions to be raised. And it doesn't close things off. This is just a public comment period. That's all.
Well, when does the council have input?
If you would like us to schedule a work meeting, I'd be glad to do so.
Is the planning commission giving their input, or is Pat just saying, here's the plan, and they're approving it?
No,
This is like a big deal if we approve this, because it's saying it trumps our village ordinances.
I have seen that, I'm not sure that that is true.
But that's what it says in this document, and that's why, as trustees, we stand and read it, and we say, okay, we think your plan is better than our village ordinances, so it's really
I
important.
do not believe that is true, but again,
Well,
I guess
I don't
my
think-
question is are we willing to open up the 63-day period for public comment on the master plan? Again, it is not locked in stone. Changes can be made at any time during that
He's
63-day
gonna
period.
rewrite the whole thing if he heeds some of the things I cited. I don't know why he never came to a council meeting and said, what do you trustees would like included? And then one, it says we're a vital, thriving community, and then it says we're on the decline. Well, which is it? And it keeps saying we're a city and we're not a city.
Peggy, why can't we do this and then set up a meeting here with Pat to go over it within the 60-day period? Just say within 30 days, we want to set that up.
I'd be glad to set it up the first week of January.
Yeah.
I'll check his
I
availability.
mean, the village could copy my whole book, and all my comments are in here. And I hope that you all have
a booklet.
your comments.
We have a booklet.
Like we need the capital improvements plan, where is it? Then they're using a plan from 79 and and information from 2004. Well, I thought we were gonna pay for a new plan for 16,000 to get up to the minute information, not the stuff from 2004. I mean, I know what that is. You know, there's no public safety plan, it doesn't talk about police, it doesn't talk about garbage, or sanitation, or water. It talks about changing the form of government, taking the vote away from the people. We no longer will be able to elect a clerk or a treasurer. We'll have to follow a building code that no building in town can pass if it reads the way it stands right now.
Can I interject here? It's not saying we have to do that, it's proposing that we take a look at doing it. There's a big difference. It does not say we're doing it. And I do believe if we release it for public comment, we can still have a meeting, we can still put our input into it because we passed a motion last month and said we have the final say. So, you know, I have concerns too, and I'd like to have some additions.
I know, but
the ball needs to get going.
If you have pride in your work, though, you want to fix things before the public reads a document that is contradictory and, let's see, this is complete streets program. I never read that. It says the National Complete Streets Coalition has to find a complete street that's designed and operated so they work for all users, pedestrians, bicyclists, motorists, and transit riders. Well, I've never seen that plan. So do we want to adopt it?
We're not adopting it, we are merely releasing it for a 63-day comment period. That's all we're doing.
So I think if we have a meeting with Pat Coleman, the sooner the better, in January, then we can discuss all our issues with him and then bring it to the public, Peggy.
Well, I would ask tonight for a motion to release the master plan for the 63-day comment period.
And then it even says we can change our form of government, it's just the code of the council. They forget about the referendum, the 45 days, the public can reject some of this stuff. It should be in the plan.
That is an incorrect statement. 2/3 of the vote of the council, you have to write an ordinance to change that.
Well, and again, let's not argue, again, we're arguing things that we need a working session.
I mean, I couldn't get through 2 pages without having things that were very questionable. It almost seemed like it was boilerplated from another plan.
Okay, can I make a motion that we release the master plan and set up a meeting with Pat Coleman to go over all of our remarks with him the first week in
Yes, you can. All right, so we have a motion to release it and to set the meeting. Okay, so Virgil second. Okay, so is there any further discussion? Okay, if not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that passes. Okay, Jim, you want to talk about the consent decree, the consent judgment?
So at our last meeting, I believe there was a 4-1 vote that we moved to settle the existing zoning appeal by James Flood with the circuit court. And so I prepared a consent judgment.
But see, I think we're the wrong.
Now let him finish, please.
I prepared a consent judgment that is in line with what we discussed at the last meeting.
But it says who the parties are. If you read the very top, the party should be the zoning board and Jim Flood. It shouldn't be the village council, because if you read the zoning ordinance, the village council is not the zoning board and should not be a party to this litigation.
So
That's why I'll call the
wanted to have
judge
the
if you
council
think
see
that.
the draft of the
I don't think it's correct.
consent judgment.
You got the wrong party.
And we don't need a vote on this, but I just wanted you to see it. And I can present it to the circuit judge and have him sign it, because I put this consent judgment together. I showed it to Mr. Flood's attorney. She has approved it orally, and I'll get her signature and I'll approach the judge and get the matter settled in accordance with what the council discussed in this last meeting.
Even if the council is the wrong party that should be doing this.
No, the village of Calumet is the proper party for the zoning appeal. It's the municipality that adopts the zoning ordinance that is the party.
But if you read the zoning ordinance, we're not supposed to be involved at this level. That's why I'll call the judge. Never mind.
I'll make a motion that we.
Well, we don't even have to make a motion, because this is just information.
It says, this is just an informational.
I mean, we voted last month, or,
Okay.
yeah. Or
Because he is
October.
our attorney, we do have to take his legal advice.
Okay, so moving on, if you guys don't mind, I mean, Steve has been very patient. I mean, do you mind if we do the
Let's do
street?
next.
Yeah, if you don't mind. Okay, Steve?
Sorry.
That's okay. I mean, I'm sorry to keep you here late.
My report, most of, November, we were plowing snow. In fact, one of the earliest times we actually got to do Pine Street. On Pine Street, we get 100% back from the state of Michigan. And we've done it twice this year, including this one. So we're gonna try to stay focused on that if the equipment holds out. And we're also at the point where we need to start cutting some banks, especially on some of the major fairs through town. They're getting starting to get, so all I've got to report, Karen and I are going through, we got this new signs for the residential district. What I gotta go through and charge out, which one's for the major and which one's for the local street fund. And it's probably gonna be well into the summertime before we start attacking those signs. The way it's going, we could probably climb up the snowbanks to get the signs now. But, any questions?
Any questions for Steve? Do you need him here for the street department? I mean, for the committee report, or can he leave?
I have just a question for you before you leave. You got this information about the snow contracts as well as the delinquent sidewalk accounts.
Yeah.
So you've got a list of that, of the people that have either signed a contract and or paid in full. So you're aware that there's 6 people that have done that? Now, we'll
With
get.
contract.
With contracts, and those are the private snow contracts. I guess tonight we have to decide about the alley,
Well, yeah, we got the 5, but the 6th one you have is for the alley.
Right, so my question is, has there been any movement on payment?
Yeah, I think Joe has a report on that.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe this would be the time so Steve would know? Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, tell us what you've
Sure,
done.
yeah, I talked to Michael Moss. He's in touch with about 8 people that are adjacent to the alley in question. They don't have a final decision yet on how many people are going to contribute, or if they're going to stay with the village or go with a private contract. But, so they're not sure at this time, which way they're going to go, but they are still in discussion on it.
Okay. I think at our last meeting, and I think it was verbalized by our village attorney, is they could keep discussing this until April 15th and then just say, no, we don't want to be in. I think we clearly gave them more than enough time to decide if they wanted to be in or out. Now, I know Steve has some concerns about the alley, like the water company, for instance, has been, a good private contract for years and years. They were unaware that they were the only ones that were paying over time, and the thing that people have to understand is that's a private contract, and, they can hire whoever they want, but the bottom line is the village cannot lose a massive amount of money doing private work. We don't have the manpower, we don't have the money, we don't have the equipment. So tonight, we have to decide what we're gonna do with that dollar. So as far as I'm concerned, that means they're not doing anything.
Well, my suggestion is we tell them December 31st, we no longer plow.
Well, we already did that.
They got
The last meeting.
Oh, did you set a deadline?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we did.
At the last meeting,
Yeah, they were
I
told.
suggested to Mr. Moss, after consulting with Steve as to whether this would work for the street department, that they get back with us. I think we
You
need
called
another $2,400. And I said that Mr. Moss and others, if they're any interested on the alley, who want to keep the alley clean for the next, for the remainder of the season, that they should get back before this meeting and let the council know and make a payment
Okay, then I think, I mean, all we need to do is tell him, time's up.
Yep.
I think the
Well,
cars that
This was
park.
out- this was absolutely clear.
Right, yeah, so I guess, yeah, we tell them time's up. The only thing I would do is for the cars who currently park on the alley, you know, give them a notice to say, you know, as of today, this will no longer be plowed and that permits are available at the village to park on 4th Street if you have nowhere else to park.
Well, that's a nice thing to do for them, but that, in my opinion, should be the building owners, let their tenants know what's going on.
There's just one,
It's, you know,
there's
it's
one
not-
exception.
yeah.
There's the building with the wood shingles. And it might be somebody who's renting above there, who might have a car there, and I don't think that they're necessary.
Oh, is that you? Oh, yeah, you were in the village, yeah, you were in the office, yeah.
Yeah, it's just that, you know, we did a study, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but we did a study on what it costs to do private snow contracts, not just regular snow removal, but like take away snow from a private area, and then there was an unusual one, which is the alley, and take the snow away. And the study that was done by our street supervisor, we found out last year that it cost us $8,800 plus to take the snow away and do this alley, okay? And it was also found out that the water company, Michigan American Water Company, was paying for that service, and they were the only ones. So what we decided, because it was a private contract, you know, that alley doesn't have to be plowed. If you want it plowed, there's plenty of contractors out there with loaders, dump trucks, they can, you know, they can make a living too. You know, you got your choice, you know, you can't lose money. The village is, you know, not about to lose money on this, and it's a lot of money. It hasn't been looked at for many years, so we gave everybody that opportunity. Anybody that was affected on this alley for this year, you know, pitch in something, because our street supervisor, you know, we don't have to be doing this for free, because it's not a city or a village, you know, it's not something that we normally do. Next year, we're probably gonna have no private contracts at all. You're gonna, if you want snow taken away or, you know, from private property or at all, you're gonna have to hire your own person to do it. I don't have the stats with me, but I think Steve last year, we lost between all the private contracts and the sidewalks, I think we lost, was it $42,000 or something? It cost us $42,000 more to do it than what we were charging, which is horrendous. We can't make money, but we need to break even here.
So again, I think the thing is to notify Michael Moss that you will not, and again, for those tenants who are there, I think, you know, we should tell them that, you know, they'll have to get a permit from the village to park on 4th Street. So I think, what is that, $15, Joe? Is a permit $15 a month? Joe? Is 15 a month? Okay. All right, so,
So
yeah,
can I
yes.
ask one more thing? So Steve, if we're gonna, are we gonna still do it for the water company? Are we gonna go partly, because we're gonna plow the side of the village hall into our lot. We need to make a decision because.
I think the deal was that the water company was gonna be on its own. And
Yeah, that's what I want to reaffirm. So everybody
They're still
needs
looking
to
for
go.
a private contractor also.
Yeah.
The impression I get is they're waiting, you know, they've had people look at that project. They're just kind of waiting to hear from.
Do you think we can just continue through December and start January? That'll give them a little more time to try and raise money.
They've already had
Or to figure out if somebody can buy a truck with a plow on it and somebody else take over, because it is the middle of winter and.
They've known about this for a month and a half. Okay, they've known about it for a long time.
I know, but when your rates are going up eight times just because nobody looked at it, our village, we dropped the ball by not raising the rates a little at a time, and now it's a
Were you on the council last year, Randy?
astronomical.
Were you on the council
Yes,
last
I
year?
was.
Okay, I was not, she was not, he was not, so, you know, we're trying to fix it now, so let's not put blame or anything, let's just move on, be done with this. So Steve, you're only gonna plow the side into our lot and that's gonna be it? Is that what we're gonna do?
It's totally up to whatever you folks want to do.
That's what we decided,
Yeah.
that by December 31st.
you're losing $8,800. Water company knew about that.
No, it's not that.
They were paying $2,000,
They were told last year.
and they indicated they wouldn't pay more than $4,000 towards snow removal this year, so if we need $6,400 and they won't pay more than $4,000, and nobody else has stepped up to the plate to come up with the additional $2,400, I mean, that, we can put this off forever. It's up to the council, it's your decision, but I think, you've stated what you're going to do last month.
And we did give them, it isn't like we're doing this without their knowledge, we gave them every opportunity.
We have someone who wants to ask a question. Is it, well, let me ask the council, because we normally limit questions. So is it okay?
Yes.
It's really short. I mean, I just moved here. If it's okay, I'm just really curious. So that I've seen some of the plumbing that's happened, but so the 209 Fifth Street building, there's plumbing that happens to allow the gas truck to come in for the Calumet co-op. That's not you guys, is it, Steve? Are you guys plowing that to allow so the
co-op?
Yeah, for the Calumet co-op. That's done
No,
privately. By
they used to do theirs, now
We
it's
used to
private.
haul away their snow, they pile,
Okay.
the private contractor would pile it, and then we'd go in and haul it away. But they decided to.
Is that the other end of the alley? Is that a different alley?
That's not an alley, that's a snow hauling contract.
No, I'm just saying that thing is different alley.
No.
The alley that we're talking about now runs
It's
from
right
the
here.
theater
Okay.
up to.
He's talking where his building is, in the 200 block.
The Michigan house,
Okay,
yes.
okay,
that's it.
Okay, sorry, I was just trying to clarify.
That's okay.
You don't have to be sorry, you're doing, we appreciate your questions.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll ask you that.
Yes.
Thank you. I was just, well, can I ask some clarifying questions? Just because
Counsel,
it
is it
kind of makes
okay?
me like.
Okay. Sure, go quickly,
Yeah, okay. So from what I understand then, from what I'm hearing, and please correct me if I'm wrong, it's gonna be plowed like here to next door to Shuley's?
Behind the village property.
We are going to plow here and there, but you gotta remember, the water company wants behind their building open, so they're gonna come from Oak Street down to the water company. So if you're anywhere from Oak Street to the water company, you're going to benefit by the water company paying.
Okay, so that's what so.
But there'll be nothing in between.
So this will be plowed like to here, and then beyond will be plowed. And in the middle, where I am, is not gonna be plowed?
Not gonna be plowed. So what you could do if you wanted it plowed, or you want to scoop, or whatever you want to do, like you say, you're gonna benefit from the water company, because you're probably, I don't know if you're closer to the water company, probably. You could hire somebody to come in and plow that, or you could scoop
Well,
it
remember,
yourself.
they're not the property owner, they're tenants.
Oh, you're tenants, yeah.
Yeah, they're not the property
Yeah.
owner. So.
Yeah, no.
So how far are you from the water company in the back?
I'm not real sure. There's like a green building.
So
So
imagine.
who is that? Who's the back?
So imagine, the water company will plow down to the edge of Aslan's building, to the south side of Aslan's building, and then, behind the old Aslan building, that's the.
And I think that's the building you're in. It's a two-story sandstone
No.
building.
No.
Okay, sorry.
So there's the old Aslan building now owned by the Mosses, and then there's a brick building owned by Riley,
Yeah.
and then there's their building. And then there's an old empty lot, and there's the shooty bar.
So it's gonna go as far as the Aslan in the back.
Yeah.
So
she's got about 80 to 100
Are you a
feet
tenant?
Yeah.
that she's.
Yeah, because you're gonna be, right, you're gonna be, right. You know, the village would love to do everything for everybody, but we don't have any money, we can't use that kind of money, it's just common sense. that we have
Okay,
to
but
do.
the important thing is what are we going to do going forward?
I have something to add.
If your comment is pertinent to this subject, fine.
Without a doubt, it's pertinent. How much money do you expect to save by just doing half of it? I don't think you're gonna save much at all. I think that public right-of-way should be plowed, just like it's a public right-of-way. You shouldn't be charging those people for that inconvenience. Maybe not allow parking so you don't have to have so much room back there, but I think you're creating a bigger problem by only following that halfway.
Jim, just let him finish. Okay, he's finished. Okay. So the bigger thing is we've decided not to do it. So do you agree that, Michael Moss should be informed, and more to the point, tenants need to be informed that, and what an alternative is for parking. Does that make sense?
I'd like to extend it another month. It's Christmas.
If you wish to,
Start the new year.
if you want to move it, you're more than welcome to make that motion.
I make the motion that we plow until January 1, and that gives them time to find somebody else or come up with funds. It is the middle of the plowing season, and everybody will be in a bind, and especially with Christmas, if they have hot coats.
Okay, so there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a second?
Awesome.
Okay, so Jim will second it. Okay, is there any further discussion?
One thing I can say, we said they would go do it until December 31st.
No, we didn't, we said to the next minute, we said
Till
the
the next
18th.
meeting, Sandy.
That, we gave him that time, yeah. Our attorney called them in Colorado, he was here at the meeting, we've done everything humanly possible, he's talked to people, and it's at the same, it's exactly where we were when we started.
But see, we set a precedent by always doing that alley, not charging anyone but the water company, always doing it, and it's a blow in December to have people, when they get their tax bills, their Christmas shopping, their heat is the highest, their utilities are the highest, to ask them for money. I think you need to wait until the new year and start things so that people have time to digest if they can find somebody else. And it's not a hardship.
They were aware of it, they were told at the last meeting a month ago that if they didn't do something by the next meeting, they'd have to find a private contractor. They were clearly told that, we verbalized that, Peggy. It isn't like they
I
don't know.
understand.
Okay, well, we can't keep, it's like beating the dead horse here. You can't just keep doing it. If they were serious about jumping on board, they would have. They have not. They have not responded, so.
Well, you don't.
If we can move on to the vote, again,
Okay,
we're not changing anybody's minds here.
With money in December, so.
All right. So, let's
So
see.
you want to give them another 12 days?
Right, yeah, so a yes vote, would extend the plowing till January 1st.
Or should it be till our next meeting, because we can't.
No. Why don't, you want to pitch in some, Peggy, if you're such a proponent of this, because we're losing, okay?
I know we're losing, but if you look at all the other areas, it's just a joke that we're gonna cut off.
Can you vote, please?
Yes, so yes again is to extend plowing of the alley until January 1st. So, Jim?
Yes.
Okay, Sharon?
No.
Okay, you're a no, okay. Sandy?
Yes, the 31st. I mean,
To the 1st.
to the
Okay.
31st.
Okay. Birch?
No.
Okay, Peggy?
Yes.
Okay, and I will be a yes as well, so motion passes. So, Steve, we will keep the alley open until January 1st. So, and we need to inform Michael Moss though that that's the absolute, not you, but Joe, he needs to know that that's the absolute deadline. And again, tenants need to be warned about that, so. Okay, anything else for Steve so he can go home and get some sleep?
Well, I could give the report, and then if you have any questions.
But does Steve need to be here for
He
that?
was there.
Do you want to be there? We have,
Why don't you go home, Steve?
Yeah. He was
Have a
at
good
the
night.
meeting.
well, yeah, this will only take about 5 minutes anyway.
We've extended this.
We talked about the snow contracts, and our recommendation from the committee is not to have any private snow contracts next year, and send out letters in June, so that those who have relied on the village provides.
Yeah, could you guys keep it down, please?
We're going to do it.
Have plenty of time to make other arrangements. So right now, we have 5 contracts, and the alley is just not a contract. There would be 6 if they come up with the funds, but otherwise, we only have 5 contracts. So we recommend we get out of the private snow contracts for next year. Can we have a motion?
Well, we can do that in June.
Yeah, like I said,
instead of
we can do
letters.
that
We have
tonight.
to do it now.
Okay, then, the committee recommends that the delinquent snow accounts due last year be turned over to a collection agency. And we came up with a list, and we have $31,952 in delinquent snow arrears. And if it's only a couple hundred a year, the office has not done the job necessary so that we have these huge accounts, and maybe some are huge because they didn't want the service, they canceled the service, or what.
Can I interject?
I think
These are ordinance-driven sidewalk snow removal, that they don't have a choice. When we do an ordinance, they have to do it. And, you know, so it's different than a private snow contract. There's no opting out of it.
Right.
Okay?
Okay,
So you need to specify.
So we are recommending that they're turned over, but there should be contact made so that if there is an extenuating circumstance, because when good people don't pay, usually there's a reason.
They were sent, excuse me, Becky, they were sent a new bill for this year, and they were sent in that new bill what their arrears were, and they're well aware of their arrears, okay? It isn't like they don't know.
Okay, and because Steve is may possibly retire, we believe his position should be advertised in the future so that we're not put in a bind if he chooses to retire in the coming year. We have a pool of applicants. One employee's been out for over 3 weeks, and the others have really taken up the slack and done really a lot more difficult jobs, and that. So we also would like to recommend that the employees receive a $1 an hour pay increase retroactive to when that employee was off of work, starting about November 15. And then we also discussed when an employee is out, what documentation should be provided so that we know how to handle his absences and the procedures and documentation to determine the return to work guidelines, and if he's off with pay or without pay. So we have those two recommendations, and I think if you put it in writing, like the employee handbook, then there'd be no question. The only other item is company was putting in a fiber optic line between Spectrum Health to Aspirus, and they were going to be boring under our village streets. So our committee asked Steve if he'd contact them and tell them to stop until they come to the council and explain what they want to do under our streets and have a contract with us, because what if they damage a water main or they dig up a sidewalk? We have no idea what they're going to do. So if you want to address that at all.
Yeah, I talked to Spectrum, and I told them to cease until spring, because it was not only a problem for the contractor. The contractor was informing me that he could not guarantee that he'd be able to get everything back together this winter like it probably should be. And I said, well, that's really not acceptable. And then also when they changed their plan, and the biggest problem they were having is because of the snow conditions, the people who mark all their underground lines were going around every other day because you couldn't see their tape lines. So we all finally said it's better to stop now. And I told them when we get back in town, I'll have them come and address the council.
What I'd like to do
All right.
before Steve.
So sorry, I really can't. Please talk to us after we're done, and we'll be glad to answer your questions.
Can we, I'd like to make a motion on here. We recommended to this council that, Steve has had his other full-time guy out. Have we ever gotten a slip from a doctor saying eligible for not to work or eligible to work? Have we received anything like that? Because that's all we need to know is can't work, can work.
That's it.
Have we received anything like that?
I think something was faxed to the office.
I think you saw it, but I know Corinne is following
It's
up.
not,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah, I
the
think
thing
you
that
already
they
seen it, right?
faxed was not, did not say he can't work. It didn't say it. Now, he's been out for how many weeks now? 4 weeks, 5 weeks? Pretty long. maybe longer. My question is, if we don't have a doctor's slip saying he cannot work at this time, has he abandoned his job? That's my question. I don't know why it's so difficult to get this from this guy, and we need to make a decision on that. The other thing tonight too that I'd like to do is Steve's got some part-time guys that have really stepped up to the plate and helped Steve, and they need to be compensated for that. We recommended, $1 an hour raise retroactive to when they started doing things besides just driving a dump truck. Steve recommended that, and we appreciate it.
So is there a motion to do that? And I can tell you, we did look at the hours, it's less than $1,000.
Yeah,
They work
we need
less
to
than
do that,
$1,000.
because we really truly appreciate
Yeah,
it.
they're helping me with maintenance.
Yes.
They've done a lot.
So I'll make that motion to.
Okay, so the motion is to increase it by $1 for those 3 employees,
Retroactive.
retroactive to November 15th.
Yes.
Okay.
And he will supply the names of these part-timers.
Well, actually, this is a problem I ran into with Peggy after talking to her. I didn't realize that one of mine that come back every year, he's still at $11 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd hate to see these part-timers going at 12 and he's at 11. He's the one that runs the skid steer and does all the prepping. It's one extra guy, and I think he deserves it because he's there all the time.
All right, so that would be 4
So
employees.
4 employees,
Yeah,
yes.
that was my fault. I didn't realize he was,
that motion, correct?
Yes.
was at that
I
level.
made that motion, and you'll provide the office with who they
Yes.
are. Thank you.
And the other, we don't need a motion?
I'll support
Well,
that
wait,
motion.
let me go through this one first. So we have a motion, and, okay, Sandy, you're seconding it. Okay, and because this entails an expenditure of funds, we need to do voice votes. So Jim?
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Burge?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Passes. Okay, thank
And are we going to give any kind of a time limit on getting a slip for eligibility not to work? Because this is really putting the street department in a bind. We have to do something with that.
And again, if you wish to put a deadline, that's fine. I mean, let's let Steve go home.
And then I gave a preliminary list of the snow contracts, the delinquent ones, and the properties in the land bank that I got from Jim Camp. He was real helpful in getting this information compiled for us. The Houghton County Treasurer has one property in 400 block of 7th Street, and then there's a Houghton Estate Sales that has lots 12 and 13 and block 10. So anyway, it's just information, it's not a final, there could be changes or information we didn't have, but we got to start somewhere to try to get things up to date.
So do you need a motion to send those people that have not paid a motion to collection?
Well, I mean, we need to approve it. I assume we would enter. Can Steve go home?
Steve,
Yes.
go home.
Please, Steve, go home. Yeah, go home. Yeah, this really doesn't pertain to you, so.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thanks for
much.
all your hard work, you guys.
I think since we would be entering into a contract with the collection agency, first of all, we need to have that contract, and we can have a special meeting to approve it. But I mean, we've never approved going to, I don't think we've ever approved a contract with a collection agency, and I don't know what a contract looks like with a collection agency either. So, I mean, I think you've contacted someone in Houghton, and I assume there is a written contract, but I mean, before we turn it over, we should approve a written contract. So Joe's talked to, I
You
mean,
just have to decide if that's what we're gonna do, and then then I can talk to him, and we can get a written contract, I can present it to
I
him.
mean, is that what you want?
It's just a matter, I've done this before with a work issue, and it's just a matter of, you tell them, here's the accounts, they let you know what the fee is, what percentage, and they write something up, they do all the paperwork, it's completely out of your hands.
Right. So again, do we want Joe to get a contract from, I don't know the name of the agency, but.
Here's another thought. You write a letter to those people that are delinquent. You say you are past due this amount. If it is not paid in full by, say,
Our next council meeting.
our next council meeting.
Okay, but that's,
I'm just waiting.
this is what the question
Yeah,
is.
let Sandy finish.
Okay, well, go ahead.
If you write that letter and you tell them you will be turned over to collection by this date, if we do not receive the money, a lot of the times that money will come in. So if we set a date, then we, if not, then we have a copy of the contract from CCI and you sign the contract.
And like they said earlier, the letters were sent out to with how much they were in arrears.
But they did not state you're going to be turned over to collection, did they?
And that, and it-
Yes,
and
they
it
Yes, it did. They did?
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe the council doesn't know what letters went out.
Yeah, no, it didn't. Plus, the collection
Okay.
agency will send the letters out to the people, and if they respond with it,
I
I think
just
it's
wanted to
30
make
days.
sure that
30 days, that's, you know, it's
they
a,
were informed.
yeah, no, they were informed
Okay.
on their bill.
Thank you.
All right, so it's the council's intent then to get a contract. Is that the name of the company, CCI? I mean, is that?
Credit Services Incorporated.
Yeah.
But before we do that, we sat down after a street meeting, we went through them all. I would just like to go through them again and absolutely verify that these are correct, because we had a couple of questions about two of them.
That's
So
fine.
I'd like to set up a timer, somebody do it, you know, make sure that they're correct, and then,
That's
yeah, because that will.
That's fine, I
that's
mean,
fair.
again, and we can have a special meeting if we want to do the contract, I mean, so, okay. So Joe will contact them and get a contract for us, and, I mean, do you want to do this before the next council meeting, or when would you want to do it, as quickly as possible? I do too. I mean, is that kind of consensus as quickly? Okay, all right, so we can take care of that. Okay, is there anything else on street?
After Christmas, of course.
Right, All right, if not, is there a motion to accept both the street department report and the street committee report?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Tim would like to address the council. Do you mind if he addresses the council?
I don't think you voted on the raise. There was a motion. And
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
You're
right,
right. I
yeah.
get confused. Thank you very much.
No, we all said yes.
No, you gotta do a voice vote.
We
You
have
gotta
to
do a
do a
voice
voice
vote.
Oh, yeah, we do.
I thought we
No, we did do it,
We
because I
did
voted
do a
down.
voice vote.
Yeah,
And it was
I did write it
unanimous.
down. Yeah, we did do it. We did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do see my notes.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
it's,
Yeah, we changed from 3 to 4.
Yeah,
We did.
yeah.
So,
so
okay.
it's gold.
Thanks for keeping us honest.
Okay, so there's a motion to accept the street department report and the street committee report by Verge. Is there a second?
I support that.
Sharon? Okay. If there's no further discussion, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, so then we're going to move back to the office report. Joe?
I got a quick question. What was the motion, who made the motion for the increase in pay?
I did.
Verge did and Sandy seconded.
Thanks. Okay, let's see, first thing on the town hall entry doors, we've had some problems with those. We got a new threshold on the Street one, we had to several manufacturers, so Dave Sladek did that. On the Elm Street, we've had some problems to handle them a lot, so James Braddock repaired that. And we've also ordered a doorknob and lock for the fire department door also. I spoke to Ken Rocco earlier this week, and he does not want to purchase the property adjacent to him. Microsoft Office has been loaded on the police department computer, so I think he's happy with that now. I did, and I sent the information to you on the medical marijuana facilities ordinance quotes.
That was after the vote though.
Right, it was after, exactly, and so that was, so you have all of that. On the contract of snow removal, two of there's 11 of them that were contacted. 2 of them opted out to go with their own private contractor, and then the only one that really waiting on is, which I guess we're not waiting on now, is with Michigan American Water, so we're good with all the rest of those. On the sidewalk snow removal, we sent out 102 bills and 46 paid so far. Sanitation, 155 sanitation bills were sent out the beginning of December for the quarter September to November. Let's see, the website, you were supposed to get a briefing on that on the website today, but I spoke with Dave and decided to wait for at a later date, possibly with, when you have
Do a special meeting. How long did she say it would take? How long did she estimate?
Again, it's gonna be as long as, you know.
Okay, if there's questions, okay. I think that's something that we really should have unlimited time.
Yeah, so it'll be whenever we have a special meeting, so we'll talk better there. And then finally, I sent an email over and talked to Mark Herrick for Waste Management. Jim, you got the email yesterday? Okay. And he called me back today, and gave us options for the, if we were to turn over the trash collection fleet to them. His recommendation is that we go with the trash bag system, where the trash bags would be purchased at one of the local stores, possibly like Ace Hardware, Buffalo's, Cat's IGA, something like that. And they would purchase, individuals would purchase them for $2.75 each, or they could get a roll of 10 for $25. And then every Wednesday, the waste management would come by and they would pick up all the bags. That would be specifically colored bags for Calumet Village. So for instance, there may be green bags, something like that. So any bags then that are green bags that were, appropriate for waste management to pick up, then they would pick those up on Wednesday morning. And that would remove the village from having to deal with any of the question or any other hassles, or again, not being paid for trash collection, which we've lost money on that also. So that is a recommendation from them. He looked at the other about possibly actually billing and doing like we're currently doing now, except the billing part of it, but he thought it would be kind of difficult to do that because of the having apartments and so forth, so it'd be hard to tell who's putting trash out there and who's not. So if we find trash bags and put out there, then it would give everybody the option whether they want to opt in or opt out. They just have to buy the trash bag if they want picked up by waste management.
The only problem with that is we're going to have to deal with two ordinances that say that nobody can opt out.
Well, true.
Just saying.
This is
irregardless, one way or the other, that is an option we looked at, Joe. That is something that's fine, but we do have to deal with the ordinance. Okay. One way or the other.
There will have to be an ordinance change, I guess.
Almost definitely.
Yep.
Either repeal or all right, so are there any questions for Joe?
Well, the one thing you said about the alley is still under, with the water company, no, it's not. That the water company needs to be told that they have to have their own guy by the first. We're done with that.
Right.
Yeah, okay, because the way you stated it, you said you haven't heard any.
Oh, no, I said, yeah, after tonight, I said it's done.
Okay.
Right.
January 1st.
All right, if there are no other questions, is there a motion to accept? Oh, sorry.
On your time log, when did you start working full-time for the village?
When did I start working full-time?
Because that start date isn't filled in on your contract.
21st is when I started working with it. I'm not the time all the time.
No, but I mean, that was like a few hours part-time.
Right.
I say, when did you come full-time?
It's on the time log.
Okay, then the committee can look at that. I was just thinking that it looks like you were getting 4 hours vacation from the time you signed the contract, not the time you became a full-time employee. So I think that was like in April, but the accrued vacation is in February. And then if you're salaried, how do you earn comp time? I don't get it. Most salaried people, you do whatever it takes, and I mean.
The contract says I can include comp time.
I know, but how is that figured out?
According to when Jim Trish, I believe, was part of writing up, was the first 5 hours would be a 1-to-1, and after 5 hours for the week, it would be 1.5 to 1.
But is it after you work for 40 hours, then you start using comp time, or I don't know how many meetings you go to or what meetings, and I'd like reports on the meetings, because if you're just going to meetings and we never hear anything, that isn't benefiting the village at all. So, you know, when you go to a meeting, which meetings do you go to a month?
It varies.
Like,
It varies, depending on what meeting, when there's a meeting for you to attend.
I mean, you must
attend
have
too many of them.
have like a schedule which meetings you attend regularly. Regularly, which meetings do you go to?
Regular meetings,
I was gonna say, I mean, doing back Calumet, but that's not regular.
no.
I mean, that's scheduled as needed.
DDA.
Well, but yeah,
Yeah,
but
he's
he is,
paid for that.
yeah,
So that
he's,
can't count.
yeah.
Well, I guess what maybe you're saying is if you go to a meeting, just tell us what happened.
Right,
at
in the
meeting,
future
and
office reports, just put down
Yeah.
what meetings you attend.
like what you went and what happened.
Well, what benefit is if, you know, maybe the meetings are just a time waster.
I attend most of them myself, and I can assure you they are not time wasters.
Well, then, if you all give us reports, then maybe we
And
can
we will
be
do so in the
100%
future.
supportive
We will
of
do
it.
so in the future.
Gotta be the way it should be, thanks.
All right, then is there a motion to accept the office report?
I'll make that motion.
Sandy, okay. Is
I'll
there a
support it.
second? Okay, Sharon. If there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Finance did not meet, but we've already talked about the raise for the employees, but it has been our tradition to give Christmas bonuses. At this time of year, it's been $40 in the past. We have normally given one to our police officer, our administrator, our administrative assistant, Steve Kello, and this year he has recommended that the 4 people we gave the $1 raises to, that we also give them a $40 Christmas bonus as well. So if I counted right, that's 8 times 40, so that's $320. So is there a motion to give Christmas bonuses to those 8 individuals I named?
I'll make that motion to give the bonuses.
Okay. Verge? Okay, is there a second?
I'll support.
Okay. All right, and again, this is an expenditure, so roll call, so Jim.
Yes.
Sharon.
Yes.
Sandy.
Yes.
Verge.
Yes.
Peggy.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Ordinance committee did not meet, personnel did not meet, public buildings. Did you guys, we didn't meet, but you want to talk about the lot sale to Aaron Bukovich.
So, there was a vote at the last meeting on this, 3-2, but unless the council votes 4, 5, or 6 to...
So it's a majority of the quorum.
It is, that's a majority of the people sitting on the council right now who have to vote in favor of sale of real estate. So, the motion that passed at the last meeting, which is 3-2, was to transfer the property to Aaron Bukovich and give him $2,600 to allow him to fix the wall on the property.
I don't know if you give somebody money and you don't offer other people that same opportunity, saying you buy the lot and give you $2,600 to fix the wall, we're not sure who owns it. It sounds like an inside deal, and
I think that goes to whether you vote in favor of this or not.
it
Like,
shows
there is
in
a-
the master plan, it's a pocket
So-
park
so
on
there are-
page 19,
there
it says it's a park.
competing considerations here. One of the considerations is that there's been some work done on that, and it continues to, there's work done voluntarily, and so if the village continues to own it, that will continue, and some people see some aesthetic and other advantage in that. On the other hand, this deal with Aaron Brockovich, excuse me. Aaron Brockovich. Yeah, so I'm a movie buff. So shift gears when I'm here. This deal with Aaron Brockovich would mean that the continuing liabilities and problems that the village will face with that wall will be expense associated with it for a long, long time in the future, so it's a matter of whether you want to continue the status of that property at the present time with those potential expenses and difficulties without end, or whether you'd rather keep the property and deal with the difficulties and the expenses associated as they go on. And it's just a matter of your personal preference with respect to that property and what you think is best and so on. It's not a matter whether you can do one and you can't do the other, because you can do either one. You have the authority to do it, but you need at least a 4-2 vote in order to dispose of the property. Can't do it without at least a 4-2 vote.
And I have something very, I've talked to Aaron about this, and he likes the way the park looks, and he told me that he really doesn't have any plans on changing it in any way. And he doesn't know the guy that's been doing it, but he's gonna try to hook up with him. He said if he does anything, he's gonna try to incorporate it along that, because he thinks it looks nice. So, just to let you guys know that.
I was dismayed to find out that the people that put the park in place didn't know anything about this, that we didn't advertise, you know, we didn't have to, but geez, it seems like that would have been fair to put a sign up right there and say, you know, it's for sale, and see who comes forward. Maybe somebody who builds walls would have bought it if we gave them $2,600 and you know.
It's gonna cost $6,500 to pour concrete in it, and it's, what, how many feet is it, 24 feet? Not even that, 24 feet?
But,
Yeah.
but it's a park, it's in our, it's page 19.
Okay, let me explain how it became a park as far as I know. There's no documentation saying that we gave approval for the park. He just started doing it, and it looked nice, and that's kind of what happened.
Well,
Sorry.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, there was
It's
a.
going very, very long tonight.
Was it ever made a park officially?
Not by this guy. No.
Well,
Would the chair allow
the thing,
DBA members
Lori
to
should have fine, okay.
There was a plan for a sculpture park approved by the village council
And I can
several
remember
years
that,
before.
yes, I do. It was done before I was here.
Yeah, and it was approved.
I don't know if it
by
was
the
ever
council.
designated a park, but I do know there was.
Steve DeLong grew up,
Right.
the Calumet, so the Calumet National Park was involved, the Main Street was involved, and the DDA.
No, you're correct.
Well, it didn't seem that Aaron was real excited about purchasing the property, or he went back and forth almost with an awful lot. So now what's the rush? It's winter, everything's frozen in place, so.
Falling apart.
Well, no, I have to say, to give someone $2,600 without requiring them to do repairs, that bothers me a lot.
It's his liability, it's not our liability.
Yeah, but still, that bothers me.
Well, when you offer money to one party and you don't give everybody else that sweetheart deal, it really looks bad.
This is not a sweetheart.
This is not a-
I mean, you can come down one way or the other on it, but either way you look at it, there's merit. This is not a sweetheart deal. This is getting rid of a long-term problem that could involve injury to people and so on and so forth. Disputes with Aaron Bukovich or his successors as to who's got
I
responsibility.
know, but if we deed the property, there is no deed restriction going to be written in that he must allow the sculpture park. Once the title passes, all the bundle of rights go to Aaron Bukovich, and he can do it whatever he pleases with it.
Private property.
You know, so we have to move carefully, because when they talk about all of the need for volunteers everywhere, and then they volunteer, they turn a nice park, and then you say, well, too bad.
At any rate,
Right.
we
You know.
We can debate it.
can't do a deal with him with a 3-2 vote.
So is there a motion then to convey the lot next to Bucko's to Bucko, along with $2,600?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, so Verge. All right, is there a second?
I'll support.
Okay, Sandy. All right, and because it involves money, I'm going to do roll call. So Jim.
No.
Okay. Sharon.
Yes.
Okay. and I am a no. So it's 3-3, motion fails, so. All right, okay, then we're moving on to public safety.
Okay, we met this month on December 12th, Tuesday. Sandy Johnson, myself, Jim Hampton, our chief of police was there, one member of the public was there. The public talked about snow issues. And then we talked about overnight parking. Chief Anderson has said that he has issued 2 overnight parking tickets, and since that happened, he's had no more issues. There's not been any cars parked on the streets. Things have been pretty good. Yeah. I have to give him kudos. He spent a lot of time and stayed up into the wee hours of the morning writing a grant that we get to our insurance carrier to
Cameras, right?
yeah, for the cameras to be successful. How many hours did you put in on that thing, do you think? Lots.
I'm not even guess, probably over 20.
Over 20 hours, just, yes, and if we're successful with that, that'll amount to what, $2,500 or more?
$7,500 total.
Yeah. So I thank you for putting your time in to do that. That's a big help for the village when you go the extra mile. Another thing that we discussed, and we discuss it at every single public safety meeting, is we need to hire another full-time police officer. We cannot keep going the way we are. He's one guy, 40 hours.
Yeah, and can I make one comment? I mean, Keith has started working up a budget for that, and I have committed, when we put our budget together for this year, to find, how we can pay for that, so.
We got no police in the master plan. Committee that will look at that
63
part.
days, there will be.
I would hope so.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then another thing we discussed, we lost one of our fire department contacts, Joe Canyon, who used to come, who was the secretary for Calumet. He has resigned from Calumet. He's now a member of the township fire department, so that's kind of a loss for us because he would come to the meetings and give us reports and things like that. This has to do more with personnel, but Trustee Johnson was on public safety, stated that there were 2 members of the fire department that were not certified to be on that said fire department, and one is going through the proper schooling at this time, and the other one has resigned from the department. I don't know exactly who they are. And I want to thank Joe Panion because he's always been a big help. And I would like to see, and I don't know how you're going to make these people do this, but we get a lot of blowback from different committees, departments, or whatever about like, we didn't know. It would be really nice if they could send a representative to a council meeting or maybe to a committee meeting so everybody can communicate, so we don't have these said problems.
I'll call.
Yeah, I mean, that would just be really nice, because if we all work together and talk to each other and communicate, it'll
Maybe
work
if
a
we
lot better.
ask them to come, every 3 months, just touch base, or if they have a problem in the interim.
Or even sometimes our committee meetings, if one of us could come in, maybe not here.
Because we have no contact with what they do or what goes on or whatever, we're just totally in the fog. Now, if you got, do you have anything to add to this, Chief? You got your new vest with the brand?
Nothing to add. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Once again, I can say good job on working more hours than you had to on Wednesday. That was very much appreciated.
Probably on the average, that's every week, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Right.
Not to make things later.
Are there any questions? If not, is there a motion to accept the police report? I don't think we have a fire report, as well as the public safety committee reports. Sandy? Okay. Is there a second? Jim? Okay. There's no further discussion. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, sanitation, I do not, you guys didn't.
We did not meet, I was asked to look at numbers. Numbers are real close. We would be fine across the board, as I said before, had it not been for TIF money. If you subtract out or add back in the TIF money, we are pretty much at a wash. So we're real close. Now, the only thing is we got the delinquent accounts, and I've got the accounts that Joe's been billing. I've read down through the ordinance again. Unfortunately, we have to go property by property. There are some properties in this village that are not getting charged and have not been getting charged for years and years and years. If we picked up a dozen more people, now whether they're putting trash out or not, or they don't know about it, there's well more than that in properties that are not getting billed under the ordinance. That is someplace to explore. We would be fine. But then again, it all comes back down to the fact that we keep getting $4,000 or $5,000 to TIF money every year. We keep getting a lower collection on tax. With that gone or with that changing, that would make us solvent. So there's a lot of things. We're really not losing tons of money, but we're not making any either. It's real close. So that's all I got.
Right, and,
So you send out invoices and then send out statements.
right, so the invoices are for the current period,
Right.
and a statement reviews your
But-
account in total. So that would tell you if you
But
missed.
that's just double work, you put on the invoice the money total.
Well, that would be
Because
the
I've
statement.
had questions,
That would be the statement.
you know, people call me and say, why is there a statement and an invoice?
If you only
Well,
want
if you're current, it's fine, but but the statement, if you're
in
In
arrears.
in arrears, then it's,
Yeah, it's a running total, but, you know, you could just add it to an invoice too and not have the.
Well, no, you would send out a statement, you wouldn't send out an invoice.
Jim, I forgot to, where was that?
Well, it's a bill for
I forget.
everything.
To the DDA.
DDA?
That's tax
So
increment
that money
money.
goes to the
Right.
DDA
It goes to the DDA.
Why?
by law.
By law.
A tax increment finance district.
Okay.
What was this other money you're talking about taxes or
Oh,
something?
the only other thing, it was not added, per the ordinance, we are allowed to bill back on the property taxes through the county delinquent taxes. It did not get added on this last tax roll to the tune of, now it doesn't mean they're gonna pay.
So we don't have a chance
You know,
to do that?
when we were talking about the
I
land,
don't understand that.
That was only, overdue, collectible over 90, would have been about, total past due, this is as of March 1st, was $14,954. But actually, it would have been anything, you had to subtract out, over 90, so you would have to subtract out about 5,000, so about $14,000.
That we lost out on?
Doesn't mean people would pay it, it would have been added to their taxes. Most people were subtracting anything, even the 2.5%, subtracting from their taxes. So there's money to be had out there. We may need to look at these, and if they still own property.
The county would put it on their taxes, and then the county would collect it?
But that doesn't obligate, it doesn't obligate them to pay, it's just on the taxes. You can't do a lien on the taxes, but that's added.
Okay, do we do this every year? Is it something we could do? Is it optional? We should do, we didn't do? I mean, what
By
is it?
by ordinance, we can do.
Okay, did we just not do it, or are we supposed to do it? What's the deal on that?
the county will not foreclose on it.
They won't foreclose because that's a subline 5, and they won't foreclose for that, but they can throw it on your taxes. Now, if you're in an escrow account, then your bank will pay for it and then bill you, but if you're paying on your own taxes, you can opt out of that, just subtract out that amount and pay it.
If nobody has talked with the county treasurer about this, I think it would make some sense to talk with the county treasurer to be sure of what she will do or won't do. Have you talked with her at all?
Yes, they actually called and asked, my wife's treasurer, they asked for that number, and that was my work that I wrote in, and there's a line right on the tax bill for them.
Okay.
Now, the ordinance says that you have to submit the delinquent sanitation bill in March.
Correct.
And then, but you can put them on, they also put them on the taxes then, but they will not foreclose on you if you do not pay it. There are a number of people that they will go up there and they will delete everything, all the delinquent tax bill, and they will pay everything else. So the county treasurer said it will not foreclose on anybody if they don't have to.
But if you put it on there, there's a chance that you might get some money from somebody, and that's the whole premise behind this, is my understanding.
Well, Mary Liz does not use the service, doesn't want it, and made it clear, she goes and pays her tax bill every year, they put it as a delinquent on her tax bill, she pays everything but that.
But it's required and ordinance, isn't it?
Most people who get away with it.
Well, maybe we're gonna, bags, maybe you're gonna have to put bags and solve the
Yeah.
problem, just, they were done.
That's the only way.
That's the best thing.
Yeah, it's really the best thing to do.
Yeah.
And then Jim doesn't have to be spending hours and hours on things that he does over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But the first step is look at those ordinances, because we can't just make changes without the.
Jim, when we have an ordinance meeting and we're talking about sanitation, maybe we could encourage you to come as well, because you the one has the most knowledge.
Sure.
Well, though, we'd have to list it as a special council meeting because we'd have a quorum.
Yeah.
Well, I could stay away during that meeting if you'd like, and you could come, because he has
Maybe
knowledge.
you're gonna stay away.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, I did the quick math. Out of the 150 some bills that we sent out, there's really about 30 of them that would have fallen under that.
Well, let me ask
So
you
we're at
this.
about 6,000. So it would have, if we would have collected the whole $6,000 on the taxes, then we would probably be ahead of the ballgame for the whole year. But
Okay, let me ask you
But
this,
see,
like, the year
But we
before,
probably
did we
wouldn't
get
collect
any money from this when we
Yes.
submitted it? We did, how much did we get the year before?
I don't know. We did
But is
get
it
some.
thousands?
I want to say the numbers I seen, it was like 3,500.
So it's worth putting this,
Yeah.
this thing, and we get something.
But a lot of those people,
I'd say $100 worth it.
yeah, but a lot of those are not, there's, the number of billable properties within the village has declined, and is declining a huge percentage every year. A lot of those were from banks, and if I do the math, a lot of these are not there. Those properties are non-existent, or we found out in the land bank or a few other things. So who knows how much we would have actually collected, I don't know. But then there's a bunch of people, but then there's also properties that are not getting billed. Are they using the service? I don't know.
That's why bags make so much sense.
I think so
As much as I
too.
do.
Much as I hate them, I don't know.
Yeah.
The system's
They
broken,
did
we're,
like it in Lake Linden, and they went to them years back, and we're.
all I know right now, Virginia, we're not losing the $45,000 like we are in the street.
Snow?
So we're, yeah.
Good job, Jen.
Since there wasn't a committee meeting.
It really wasn't much of a report, but you guys got the gist of what it was.
I am very embarrassed. Before I left home, I got my packet and I suddenly realized that I do not have my previous paid bills and current bills. So somebody's going to have to give me those numbers. Oh, you have them? Okay. And are there any questions on the bills?
The only one is the Blue Cross Blue Shield, and Joey, like, you know that it shouldn't be that 2276?
I'm sorry, I didn't, okay, yeah, got that one. Okay, yeah, Verge has,
He knows that for sure.
Verge has a question. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know about the Blue Cross, the reason the bill was 22, that was
Right,
in the
that's
envelope,
been-
is because it was paid, the other one was, yeah, I
Right,
understand. Okay, so you're not gonna pay 22.
Right, that's already straightened out.
Okay, good.
All right, are there any other questions on the bills? If not, is there a motion to pay, bless you, to approve previously paid bills in the amount of $25,724.26, and the new bills in the amount of $20,639.94, plus $789.93.
I make that motion.
Sandy?
I'll second it.
Burge? Okay. Roll call vote, so Jim?
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Burge?
Yes.
Maybe?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. And finally, is there a motion to adjourn?
I will make that motion.
And I will second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank
It
you.
isn't even 9:45.
Well, you have to stay till 11, because you know,
Ah,
stay there.
And everybody